Hi, I'm Dalton Risner. I'm a hometown kid living out his dream for the hometown team. On the field, I protect the quarterback. Off the field, I partner with Mountain Breeze Heating and Air to protect your home. My buddy James here is a class act, honorable, and trustworthy guy.
Hi, I'm James Morse with Mountain Breeze Heating and Air. We're family owned and operated in Colorado. We believe in offering the best service at the best price with the best warranty in the industry. Visit mountainbreezeheatingandair.com to learn more or schedule a free consultation.
Check it out. Hi, I'm Dalton.
Live, high above Colorado Boulevard in Denver, Colorado. Denver Sports Talk, starting at 6 a.m. continues now. This is Moser, Lombardi, and Kane on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Here's Vic Lombardi and Mark Moser with Brett Kane.
No.
Hey guys,
You look like an idiot.
what? What's the problem?
If this is the way it's going to be,
No, I'm not
gonna
doing
make
this.
a proclamation. Vic,
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this show.
Out, gone.
I'm not doing this
guys
show
want?
if this is where you're going. I'm not going to participate.
I don't
in
understand what the
tomfoolery.
problem is. What do you mean? What's the issue here? What's your guys' deal? Explain this to the audience. I don't understand. I mean, we're on
All right,
TV
so-
today. We're
so-
looking professional.
so
What?
It's our first show on television this morning on Altitude TV. First of all, Kane looks like some guy in a You both look like guys in stupid videos. Martin, you look like you were pulled out of Scritti Politti in 1989.
Marty looks like he's a victim in a hostage crisis.
Yeah,
You don't like my suit?
Like
Marty
in a bank
looks-
situation.
Marty looks like the guy who tries to negotiate his way out of his own hostage situation and ends up getting smacked immediately.
He's like the guy from Die Hard that says, "I got it all figured out." Right? Hey, listen, I got this. And Hans Gruber goes, "Pow!" And then you look like some white rapper who got rejected by 87 record labels.
Yeah.
Listen, you can keep me as a hostage, and I'll give you $50 million. How does that sound?
Well, and that's how we introduce to the world our debut episode, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 Morning Show, not only on the radio, but on Altitude Television this morning. Welcome. Soak it in.
I'm glad you guys decided to get all televisionized before the show. Now, this is going to be a radio show that's on TV, but I appreciate at least the effort. I didn't know you knew how to tie a tie, Brett, so nice job. Way to go.
This was tied in 2016, and it's just been hanging this way in my closet ever since.
And I don't even doubt that for a second.
It's the truth. By the way, let's just start there for a minute, because I know that we all want to be happy and have all these fun games and stuff like that we're playing. Friday night was a real kick in the groin.
Sad.
Like, really, really much. And it's not just that Nolan got traded. I think we all kind of saw that coming. Like, Marty said he freaked out on Friday. My freak out didn't come until Saturday because I knew that Nolan was going to get traded eventually. And I saw the trade and I go, okay, I know it sucks he's going to St. Louis, but what did you get in return? When I saw the $50 million, I was like, oh, okay, they got cash because they needed cash.
That's what I said.
No, you're sending that to St. Louis with him. It is one of, and guys, I'll just start it with this, and then I'll give you guys a second to kind of decompress your thoughts. Here's Jim Bowden, who is a former MLB Executive of the Year. His thoughts on the trade. If the initial reports are accurate, this is one of the most lopsided trades in baseball history. It will go down in history as one of the worst trades ever made by an MLB team on behalf of the Rockies. It's almost unfathomable.
Well, my thoughts are this. Forget baseball for a second. Across all sports in Denver, Colorado, since I was born into this world, okay, since I was thrust into this world, this is the worst trade in Colorado sports history, and it's not even close. There's nothing that resembles this. I mean, I'm thinking about losing marquee athletes back in the day that went on to other bigger and greater things. You know, when Dikembe Mutombo took off as a free agent, you can go up and down the list here, but nowhere in the history of Colorado sports can I recall such a one-sided deal of a future Hall of Fame player. All I was left thinking last night as I lay in bed is we're going to remember the years here where we had at our disposal 3 future Hall of Famers. We had Nikola Jokic, who's still producing. You saw him last night, tied a career high. Nathan McKinnon, who, my God, when we get into that, I got to find out what's wrong with Nate. He left with an injury.
Great.
And we had Nolan Arenado. We had all 3 of these young bucks, young in their 20s, in their prime bucks, banging away on a Hall of Fame career. And now one of them is gone.
Well, you could throw Von Miller into that mix too, couldn't you?
Good point. Forgot about that one.
Vaughn's a little bit older, yeah, but for sure. I mean, we're watching Vaughn in a Hall of Fame career as we speak, 100%. I started to hear some of the reasoning about the 50 mil. Kaner, you were right. It's like this dude from France comes in and he steals your fiance and you give him your car and dog. You know, you're like, hey, just take it all, dude. Take it all.
I mean, this is how me and Marty.
It's cool.
Me and Marty described it this way in the 6 o'clock hour. You robbed a bank. You went to the teller. You stuck them up, and you said, "Give me all your money." And they said, "We've been begging for you to come here and take our cash. Thank you so much." In fact, if you go around this door, there's actually a lot more in the corner back there.
Yeah, in the vault. Yeah,
yes.
Go get yourself some. It's pretty, guys. Again, I understand the reasoning in terms of, well, you're going to pay him $30 million this year that he's going to walk anyway. You're paying an extra $20 to get out of the other years, and you might as well get something back. You know, it's that's the mindset of it all. But to me, he's such an asset. He's a future Hall of Famer and still a great, great player. Unless I'm completely misreading the economic situation overall in Major League Baseball and specifically with the Rockies, then I don't get it at all.
You're not misreading anything.
I don't get it.
No, you're not misreading, and you do get it, and we all get it, and it's over. You know, it's it was all a show, is what it felt like for me, because we knew Nolan Arenado was going to get traded, right? This was inevitable. We knew this was happening, correct? You guys knew this was happening, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Right?
Nothing has changed in over a year, Vic. In fact, if anything, it's only gotten more distant and worse.
All right, so we knew it was happening. When I say this is a show, what I mean is the best interest of the Colorado Rockies in our town was not had in this deal. It was not. The best interest of the team, the product of that, we did not see. What we saw was a future Hall of Famer walk, not only for nothing, but for something going the other way. I have never seen, again, such an imbalanced deal in my life.
2 things.
I've never seen anything like this before.
2 things for
Herschel
me.
Walker deal was pretty
No,
big.
but the Herschel Walker deal netted the Dallas Cowboys the roots of a Super Bowl franchise.
They got a
If the
return.
Herschel Walker trade doesn't happen, they don't get those draft
I'm talking
picks.
about the
They
Minnesota
don't
Vikings.
get.
How does Minnesota
But at least
feel
they got a
about
good
it?
player out of the
But
deal.
they got an asset. They got Herschel Walker.
Okay.
They got something they could take to their fans and say, "Look, we got this guy."
Listen,
what
I'm
the
not gonna sit
hell
here-
did the Rockies get?
I won't. I'll tell you what. I'll make you guys a deal. I won't play devil's advocate this morning because there is no other.
You can't.
I don't even want to.
There is no.
I don't want to.
I tried to play devil's advocate. The only conclusion I have is this is a franchise that is in serious financial duress. So much so that they're willing to give up $50 million up front to save $150 million down the road.
That's insane
it.
to me. It's insane. And it's so funny that you said that, Moj, because that's exactly how we started the 6 o'clock hour, which is, hey, man, you give me a couple of days, I'll find something on the opposite side to argue, and I'll just throw it. And it's not that I'm going to argue it in belief. I'll be like, well, here's what some people might think. I can't think of a single thing to argue devil's advocate-wise, because here's how I'd feel. I mean this. If they just played Nolan this year, and he opted out, it would feel better than how it feels right now.
Yes.
Letting him
And if
walk
he
for
plays-
nothing and
if
getting
he
an extra
plays,
year feels better than
and he
what
gets-
this is.
and he gets a compensatory pick at the end of the year.
Yep.
If Nolan Arenado plays this year, and here's what you're going to hear. Well, we couldn't let him play this year. It would have been a distraction. Oh, I see. So it's better to play without him for a year. Huh. I think they were afraid that if he played this year that they'd play well, and they may have to keep the contract.
Maybe.
And he may opt in. I think that's what they feared more than anything.
Well, I kept looking at the guys coming back. I'm like, what do the Cardinals do? Just say, hey, just get a bunch of dudes. Yeah. Yeah.
One of
just
the
call
guys,
him a prospect, and let's go.
One of the guys, Moj, was a 27-year-old prospect. 27-year-old prospect. Here's the other part, too.
He was born without a left hand, and that's, you feel bad about that. But, I mean, he's trying his best. I don't know.
Listen. Put these things side by side, guys. Best player in franchise history, you could argue Larry Walker. I'm just going to say it. Best player in franchise history, Nolan Arenado. Let's just don't get hung up on this.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm not. You can't make those.
Okay, that's fine.
Kind of
Okay, one of the best players in franchise history,
yes.
Nolan Arenado.
Okay,
top
right.
5 player in the league right now, Nolan Arenado.
Yes.
At minimum top 10. He gets traded, and you get quite literally nothing in return. On the flip side, Matthew Stafford in the NFL, who we aren't sure how good he is, just got 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder from him being dealt.
Plus a dude. Plus
that's how trades.
How different that looks.
That's how trades are supposed to work.
Yeah.
See, that's how when you trade, when you make a trade, something for something, right? It's like this. It's balanced, somewhat balanced. Here's what the scale looks like for Nolan Arenado. Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks just like that. There is no scale. You might as well just take it off the scale. It doesn't exist. It was a fortified salary dump. Without the dump, the salary gift/dump. I don't even know what to call it.
Hey, somebody on the Twitch feed said this. I had no idea this was a detail of this trade, too. Kane, you were actually traded to the Rocks in that Nolan deal. So how about that, guys? I'm part of the Rockies now. I'm inside the organization.
You got a purple tie on. And what are you going to do about those glasses as the show goes on here? You
can't take those off. You look like an idiot.
You do,
man.
You look good, man. You look TV ready, my friend.
I'm feeling out the TV thing today. I'm just feeling it out.
Were you guys as shocked as I was for how much Stafford? I mean, I knew that he was going to take a first-round pick. And I told you guys last week when we brought up what would it take to get Matthew Stafford, and people here said, well, I wouldn't give up the number 9. The number 9's too much. I said, are you serious?
I told you it was going to be more than that. Way more than that. I told you.
It was even Peter King saying in 2 seconds and maybe... Yeah, that ain't happening, dude. That ain't happening. So, yes,
quarterbacks are way... we know how the quarterback thing works. It happens in the draft, right? All these quarterbacks, this guy will go 13th or 14th, and come draft day, they're all top 5, right? That's how people love quarterbacks. They get magnetized to quarterbacks. And that's exactly what happened here with Matt Stafford.
Is that why Paxton went in the first round?
Well, that's exactly why. This happens every year. So if it took that much to land Matthew Stafford, can you imagine the price tag for Deshaun Watson? It would take... Let me tell you what it would take to land Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson were to be traded,
it's close. It's close.
It is.
You're probably right.
Vic,
you know what?
Credit. Vic, give him credit.
You're right. You're right.
Give his outrageous, ridiculous, out of this world thoughts some credit because he's probably closer to reality than you were.
You're exactly right. If I were to dream up a trade for Deshaun Watson, and I shut my eyes last week and said, what would it take to Deshaun Watson? And someone said, Vic, here's what it would take to get Deshaun Watson in Denver. It would take Drew Lock, Von Miller, and cross sports Nolan Arenado to the Houston Astros.
Hey,
that's what it takes to get Deshaun Watson.
Gotten value back though if we did that.
Exactly. You get something in return.
Hey, got to take a break here. 30933 is the Shop Automotive text line if you guys want in. That is 30933. We're back in 3 minutes. All right, day one of the radio TV simulcast. You can watch on Altitude TV. If you're new to the show on Altitude TV, this is just a little version of kind of what this show is, in case you don't know. We take time to read headlines like this one that was on SportsCenter last night talking about LaMelo and Lonzo. Big night for both balls is the headline on ESPN, so congratulations to them as they both played great yesterday.
LaMelo's good, man. LaMelo is really good. He's obviously the best of all the balls in that family. He can ball. Yep. He is really good. By the way, here we are, in case you're wondering.
Everybody's just taking like a free. I mean, oh yeah, back on there. Yeah. It's on the TV, Vic. Nice.
That's
job.
the Altitude Now app.
Yeah, that's great.
So you're watching yourself watch yourself?
I feel like and I feel like you guys are just using Lonzo and LaMelo as a reason to just start just saying, stuff.
What, their last name?
Now that we're on television, what I don't want to do is I don't want to dumb this program down any more than it is.
I agree.
Because if we dumb this program down any more than it is.
Hey, man, I was told 10 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson was dumb a while ago, and now it seems incredibly smart and like I was ahead of my time.
Right.
Now I might do it.
That's ahead of his time.
Okay, that's a good idea, Vic. Why don't we just stab in the dark with the most ridiculous things we can say, and you know what? Maybe they'll come true, and then we'll look like geniuses.
We just witnessed the most ridiculous thing. I mean, if someone were to say, what is the most ridiculous trade proposal you can come up with for Nolan Arenado, I think we witnessed the most ridiculous Friday night. So, obviously, the stakes are where they are. Somebody on the text line, and we still are taking your texts and calls if you want to call the show. We have some guests lined up for later. Dalton Risner of the Denver Broncos will join us this hour. We'll also visit with Tim Connelly, GM of your Denver Nuggets. On the text line, this is a longtime listener to the program who contends that we are foolish in our love affair with Nolan Arenado because he did not perform well down the stretch last season. Can you set him straight, please?
Yeah,
please set him straight.
There was complete disinterest on the part of the player from playing for this organization. Anything that Nolan Arenado did for the Colorado Rockies at all last year, throw out. It's not who he is as a player. It's not what he's about as a player. He's going to be another superstar in a Cardinals uniform. Forget about all of that stuff. Nothing. We went into spring training last year with the angst and anger between Bridich and Arenado at an all-time high. And then everything got shut down, and then you play an abbreviated season that was completely COVID-related, and then nothing, and I mean nothing was fixed between that time and right now, and that's where we are. Don't stop with this whole, well, he didn't play well that great last year down the street. Forget about all that. He's a Hall of Famer.
And let me tell you another thing, and I think this part is really important. Because now what does the future of this team look like? What happens with Trevor Story, who's your next superstar in line to either get dealt or get an extension? Well, here's what happens, guys. People look at this deal. If you want Trevor Story, what the hell are you going to offer? Why would you give anything of value up if you're trading for Trevor Story after watching what just happened with Nolan?
Trevor Story's wired just like Nolan Arenado, in case you're wondering. Had many opportunities to talk to Trevor Story. That dude is super, uber competitive, right?
Yeah.
That dude, he is as competitive as they come. What makes you think that Trevor Story is suddenly in line to accept any long-term deal to play for this franchise? Mm-hmm. What makes you think that he would not just rather become a free agent this offseason?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He's in line to become a free agent. Why? Well, I mean, what incentive does he have to sign here?
I don't think that he's going to sign here at all, which puts the Rockies in a position of, well, if we don't trade you, then we're going to lose you for nothing. But now, after looking at the Nolan trade, what are you going to trade him for?
Hey, do you guys have a junk drawer at home where you just
of course many?
Okay. Every GM around the league's doing this. All right, you want Trevor Story? All right, let's call Bridich. Bring. Yeah, listen, we'll take Trevor and $28 million. And then I got a junk drawer here, and we'll ship that to you in a box. All right?
In fact,
I mean, that's essentially what it feels like the offers would be, because I think teams have to know the Rockies are financially in difficulties right now. By the way, I forget who it was over the weekend. Was it Troy? I forget who it was, where somebody said the Rockies got spooked by the Comcast situation with us. and signed a deal that just signed a deal to take some money because they were worried that maybe something would happen with them, and that's part of the issue too. I don't know if that's true or not.
Their local television deal is not where it should be. I think that's what you're getting at, correct? Their local television deal.
They got worried because a big gun did wrong to us.
Well, that notwithstanding, if I'm the Colorado Rockies now and the damage is done, right? Nolan's gone, and it's what it is. I've had so many people reach out saying, they're done. They have no reason anymore. They're done. And my response is always this. As much as we as fans say we're done, and everybody out in radio land right now is listening, TV land you're watching, everybody says they're done, I can guarantee you this. I'm going to look right at you. You're not done.
Yeah.
You're not done.
I could lie to you. I could lie to
me and Brett and Moj and Marty, we might say we're done with whatever respective sport or team. I guarantee you're not done. That's just the way this works.
Perfect example. We all have a great time at the game last year. Dodgers are in town. When Marty is eating French fries off the stairs at the party deck, is it really a care in your mind if the Rockies are winning or losing in the bottom of the seventh inning?
I think that's really where COVID started, by the way.
You're not done. Texters are oh no, you're wrong, Vic. Not a penny. That you're okay, great. Right now you might be.
You
done.
say that now.
Right now,
you're angry now.
Sure,
yeah.
You're angry, but I guarantee you cannot stay away. It's just the way it's set up here. There's really one thing to do midsummer. That's what you do. That's what we do. And it's never bigger than one player. It never is. So I agree with some of the baseball types who sit there and say, well, one player, big deal. I know it's just one player. I get it. But it's one player after another. You know what I'm tired of, guys? I'm tired of the Colorado Rockies serving as the St. Louis Cardinals farm system. That's what I'm tired of. How many Colorado Rockies leave here, go to St. Louis, and win a freaking World Series? Matt Holliday did it. Larry Walker goes from here to St. Louis. Darryl Kyle, was it Darryl Kyle that did it? Dexter Fowler did it.
Yeah, I was going to say Dexter. Well, Dexter, didn't he go? Yeah, I guess he did, didn't he?
He did in a roundabout way, yes. Yeah. The point is, everybody leaves here and goes to the one thing that the Rockies were trying to avoid here, and I think they did everything they could to avoid it, which is why they gave $50 million to St. Louis. What were they trying to avoid more than anything? They didn't want Nolan going home to L.A. and becoming a Dodger.
That would be an absolute killer. I mean, they listen, he can still opt out and go to L.A. if he wants to. The Dodgers may be just biding their time. They may be just down there at Chavez Ravine chilling, saying, well, we can still take a stab at this guy if he opts out and so on. So that's why you try to send him east. And you look at the St. Louis market. Do they love their Cardinals? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a heritage franchise, right? But in terms of fan attendance, they don't get any more through their turnstiles than the Rockies would. It's just that what is it about the Cardinals where they can afford to pick clean off the carcass of Colorado? That's what I want to know.
That's sad. It's sad to watch. I hate being a farm system. And no, you're not done. Everybody's chiming in now. Texts. We got the Twitch feed. I'm done. Okay. All right.
You're not done. Listen, you may think you're done. You may tell your significant other and your family, I'm done. Mm-hmm. But when it come right down to it and little Johnny and little Susie go, Dad, I want to go to a baseball game. You'll sit there and you know what? You'll buy the seats and you'll buy the Skittles and you'll buy the cotton candy and you'll buy the hot dogs and you'll sit in the sun and you'll watch the Rockies get pasted 11-3 because the kids want to go.
Yeah, I imagine all these people telling me they're done. And you know what? Maybe a couple of them are telling the truth. Maybe a couple. But I think most of you guys are going to turn into that Happy Gilmore thing where he breaks up with his girlfriend over the intercom and he keeps jumping back towards it. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean that. Please just come upstairs. Please. Fine. Beat it. Leave. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean for you.
You know, I would be much more secure in what happened over the weekend if there were two arms involved, minor league arms, that you never, even if they were not proven, right? If the Cardinals had sent over a couple dudes that, hey, deep down in their minor league system, these guys have hope and promise, then I'd be like, okay, All right, I get it. But that doesn't even exist.
You
So
got like a Nuclear Lelouch with all kinds.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
He's in Double A, but he's got all kinds of promise.
this bad trade was cemented after the 2018 season, guys, because the Rockies go to the playoffs 2 straight years, right? They go to the playoffs. They're so promising. It's a young team with a young starting rotation. Everybody's happy. They're spending money. They were, what were they, 10th in the major leagues in salaries? They were spending money.
11. I think they were 10 or 11, right there, Vic.
So here they are with a chance to fortify a great core and take it to the next level. Well, the following season, they didn't take it next level. They did nothing, right? You remember that? And that's when Nolan got upset because he's like, wait a minute, we're not doing anything. We're getting worse. And then the respect word came out. And then he claimed that Jeff Bryant had disrespected him. It was over then. So if it's over at that point, that's when you trade Nolan. You trade him then. And guess what, guys? Now is when you trade Trevor. All right? The damage is done. The Band-Aid has been pulled off. Trade Trevor Story now. Don't hold on to him. Don't play this game. Don't claim that you're trying to drum up money to give him a long-term deal. He's not going to accept it. If you wait for the trade deadline, it's only going to get worse. Trade him now.
Right.
Get it over with.
Hey, Kaner, how'd you feel when Daniel Murphy retired over the weekend and DJ LeMahieu's doing what he's doing?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? All I'm doing is
that's the example. Like, you want to see how easy it was to blow up whatever goodwill you had built up with Arenado for him to sign a contract, a 7-year contract, and then in the span of 6 months, go from super happy to be here, crying at his press conference, so happy to get this extension done, to 6 months later, I feel disrespected and I want out. That's how fast it took. It was a matter of months. And then you waited
just a little bit longer than Deshaun Watson did to try to get out of Houston.
Right.
Just a month and a half longer to try to get out.
30933 is the Champ Automotive text line. If you guys want in, that is 30933. You're listening to Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. We're back in 3 minutes. All right, quick audible here. Let's talk to your starting left guard of the Denver Broncos. That is Dalton Risner. Dalton, thank you so much for your time this morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Dalton Risner, you are the spokesperson for our good friends at Mountain Breeze, are you not?
Yes, I am. Sure am.
Yeah. Proud to have you on the show.
Dalton, have you golfed with those guys yet? Have you hit the ball at all?
I have not had the opportunity to golf with them yet, man, but I visit with James all the time, and man, it's an honor working with Mountain Breeze. Those are my guys, man. So we're good family friends now.
Does Dalton look like a golfer to you? Dalton, my guess is you cannot golf, and I'm not holding that against you, but my guess is you are not a golfer, correct?
I'm actually a very bad golfer, so you got a good judge of character there.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
but
can't golf, man.
here's the thing. In Wiggins, I don't know how you learn to golf in Wiggins or not. I truly don't know. But it seems to me you can get a pocket of balls and just hit them into the pasture as long as you want to, man. I mean, I guess that's what I'd do.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it, man. Like, literally, we have a golf tournament every single season. It's called pasture golf, hillbilly golf, whatever you want to call it. And we have, usually, before COVID hit, we had 200, 300 people out there, golfing in the pasture. We mow down holes. We put T-posts up. We spray point lines, like the whole deal. So I grew up hitting golf balls into sagebrush, that's for sure.
Well, what have you done the last couple of weeks sort of to decompress after the season, Dalton?
Yeah, man. So you getting done with the year, you look back on the season and how you played individually, how you did as a team, and it's just so frustrating to look back and be like, man, we were 5-11. I hate having to watch the playoff games. I want to be playing in those. Watching film, kind of getting done with the season, kind of checking out with the coaches, seeing what they thought you needed to do better, they thought you did well, whether that's with Coach Munchak, Coach Fangio. Speaking with Elway, we got a new general manager with George Payton. So a lot of checking out, kind of decompressing, maybe seeing family a little bit. I went on a trip with my girlfriend to kind of get out of Colorado, decompress a little bit. And the whole time, I've been switching off and on between Lando Performance, who's our strength coach at the Broncos, and just being at UC Health Center on days that I'm allowed after I get my rapid COVID test to be in the actual facility. So trying to stay close, man, and get work and become a better player, become a better team, be a leader for these guys, get us rolling. That way next year, I can't hop on a call today because I'm getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Dalton Risner with us. Dalton, speaking of that record, obviously not what you guys wanted, but now that you had time to look back at it, how much of that was stuff inside your control and stuff outside of it, like injuries and all that other stuff that was going on?
Well, it was a tough year with injuries. Everyone knows that. I'm not into excuses, but we had a lot of guys go down to injury and a lot of good football players, a lot of good leaders on our team that went down. So that was really tough. When it comes to the season, though, you look at the games that we lost, you look at the games that we won, and the games that we lost, I think there's a lot of those games that we easily could have won, that we felt like we could have won going back and watching the tape, whether it's better play calls, whether it's us executing better as players. I think that we have a lot of work to do. You go 5-11 and something needs to change. We can't just say, yeah, well, we're going to work on it. So I'm not the general manager of the team. I'm not the head coach. I don't know exactly what the problem is. All I know is that there's always room for improvement. So I need to get myself better. I need to continue to improve myself, become a better left guard for the Denver Broncos. And as long as everyone on the team does that and looks himself in the mirror, we'll come back and we'll have a better year next year. So I want that for sure. I want to be better.
Dalton, I don't think anybody expected without any training camp and with a new offensive coordinator and new players on the offensive side of the ball for you guys just to jump right out and be an incredibly prolific offense. And then I did see you guys grow as the season went on. I saw Shermer try some different things, especially with the offensive line play. But what do you think it's going to take to get to where you want to be? Is it more skill? Is it just more time in this offense? Is it your quarterback upping his game a little bit? I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but I want to truly find out what you think deep down.
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I think there's a couple things. I think that we're a very young football team. There's a lot of guys on this team that are trying to mesh together, trying to learn how each other play, trying to make a name for themselves in the NFL, and it's a lot of young guys. We don't have very many guys that have been around here for a long time, other than Von Miller a couple guys that have been around here to really show the way. So I truly believe that, one of the things that needs to be done better is us meshing together, and that's what I feel like we got better at this year at the offensive line, position. And I think that whenever you play next year, all of us are going to have to continue to work better together. Better together, man. And I think that we could point fingers at certain positions. We could say, well, play call needs to be better. He needs to understand our players or whatever we might want to say. But I truly think it's just about executing, man. And the reason I don't like pointing fingers, I think there's a lot of guys on our offense that can play better to help us, I think, and that's obvious. But I have areas to improve myself, so I don't want to be sitting here pointing fingers because we still went 5-11. And I'm competitive as heck, and I hate using excuses, man. So I think we need to all work better together. We need to kick ass this offseason. We need to come together, and we need to be ticked off with 2 losing seasons in a row that we've been a part of, and we need to change that. We need to change that, plain and simple. Everyone needs to play better. We need to get our guys back from injury. We need to execute when we pass the ball a lot better. Whenever we run the ball, we need to make sure we're getting yards. We need to make sure we're protecting Drew Lock. We're going to make sure that he can make his passes downfield, and he needs to be smarter with the ball. We need to make sure that, with our running backs and our wide receivers, that we're running the right routes, we're doing the right protections. I could go on and on all day. It fires me up. I want to get back and get after all that.
I like it. It's good.
I like it.
It's good.
I really do think we're going to be a better football team.
We are visiting with Broncos left guard Dalton Risner, who's kind enough to join us. Hey, Dalton, have you had a chance to visit with the new GM yet?
I'm actually meeting with him today. So I got into the facility. I'm waiting on my results back from my COVID test now. And I'm going to be able to get a lift in and then be able to shake his hands. I'm really excited for that.
Good for you. Drew Lock, where has he been? And does he plan on working out with receivers? Do you know? Are you going to work out with him at all this offseason?
Well, last off season he did a tremendous job of working out with all the receivers and getting us together and working with the O-line as well and kind of being the guy that knew his stuff. So he did a great job at that last year. Usually the first few weeks after the season, guys are taking a load off. I haven't spoken with him to see what he's been up to, but I know he's here at the facility this morning. I know I saw him get a COVID test. He's going to get a workout in with me, and I think he might be meeting George Payton as well. I'm not sure. I'm not the man with all the info, but I'm sure he's taking the time to decompress, which is extremely huge. No matter if we have a good year or a bad year, it's always important to decompress and make sure you're ready to rock and roll. That way you can be a better player the next year. So I'm sure he's getting back into the swing of things, and I'm sure him and the boys will be getting back together here pretty soon.
Dalton, can you imagine if you're in Drew's shoes? I mean, you're ready to come back. You're ready to work in the offseason. You turn on talk radio in Denver, Colorado, and all you hear is, well, Stafford's available. Deshaun Watson's available. All these guys are available. Let's go get a quarterback. I mean, if you're Drew Lock, how do you make sure you keep focused and not pay attention to all that noise?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, man. I've actually been wondering kind of some of the same things because, this is our job. We take a lot of pride in it. We care a lot. I don't think that there's anyone on this team that doesn't care. We all want to be great. We all want to be the best players and for people to love us, and we know that's not how it always works. But, one thing that Drew has got to do is he's got to realize that when we're drafted where we're at, I was picked 41, he's picked 42.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot expected of us. And there's a lot expected for me because I needed to fill a position right away. I was already a fifth year. I was 5 years at Kansas State that I played, so people expected me to be more mature and ready to play. For Drew's case, he was drafted in the second round as well, and he's a quarterback. So people are like, man, you drafted as a quarterback. We need a guy to come in and help us. He had a little bit more time, but I understand the way that the anxiety that he feels, the pressure that he feels to do great, because that's what people expect out of us. That's just the NFL. And whether you're drafted or not, if you get a chance to play, people are going to expect you to play at a high level. So one thing that I value about Drew is the way that he continues to just fight through it. He's not putting his head down. He's not being immature and going to social media about it. It looks like he's just taking it to the chin. And, sometimes that's tough, but you never know, man. You never know how this pushes him. You never know how this makes him want to play even better, want to train even harder, want to excel even more this season. And I had a really great conversation with him along with a lot of my teammates after the season. It's tough when you end the season during COVID and everyone kind of just disperses and you don't get an opportunity to really talk to all your boys. So I just called a lot of my teammates, probably 10 guys or so, and just chatted with them about, mine and theirs relationship and what I think we needed to do better and everything, just on and on. And when I talked to Drew, a big discussion was about how, I think he can take control of this team. I'm not a quarterback coach. I have no idea, certain things he does good or things he does bad. I just block my tail off for him. That's what I'm going to do every game. But plain and simple, man, I'm proud of the way he's taken it. I'm sure it's very difficult to deal with this situation that Drew's dealing with. But, hey, I tell him when I see him, man, just keep your head down, continue to work, fight through it, and prove everyone wrong.
It's Dalton Risner. We got like a minute left, Dalton. Last question for you. Can you play third base?
Can I play third base?
Yeah. We need a replacement. Nolan got traded, so we're looking for somebody. Can you do it?
I played first base in Pee Wee, man. So yeah, that sounds great.
I like it. Yeah.
Do you guys follow that? By the way, do you guys follow the stories like the Rockies trading Arenado is huge news all over ESPN? Like, have you talked to people about that, or do you guys not get involved with it?
Dude, I'm not a big baseball guy, man.
Okay, I got you.
Bad to say I'm not. Hope you guys don't judge me for that. But
no.
I've been busy focused on Broncos, man.
Let me tell you something. I like that you're focused on football. If you want to do some hockey and hoops and baseball later, we'll do all of that. But from the moment you picked up Phil Lindsay and threw him into the end zone, you can do no wrong in my eyes, dude. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? As long as you keep picking up running backs at the 2 and carrying them and then chucking them into the end zone, do whatever you want, man. Whatever you want. I don't even care.
By the way, we're going to visit with Ryan Jensen of the Tampa Bay Bucks. How well do you know Ryan, and what do you want us to ask him?
Oh, that's pretty awesome, man. You don't have to ask him anything. If anything, just tell him that I have a lot of respect for him and his story, where he's come from, and how much he's worked, and how hard he's trained to get to where he's at today. Because, he comes from Fort Morgan and then played at Division II CSU Pueblo, and then he went to the Ravens and now the Bucks, and now he's at the Super Bowl, and he's really deserving, man, and he had a kick-ass year. He dominated some guys, so just tell him congrats for me, if anything.
Okay, let me write this down. Make sure,
dude, I want
that Dalton called Ryan a jerk.
Dalton, I want you to lead. I want you to talk to the team before every game. Judging the way you just spoke to us, I want you to lead. Seriously, this is ridiculous.
I need you to help me fix my life. I was so inspired by that.
Fix his life, Dalton.
Dalton, thanks for the time this morning, man. We appreciate it, dude. Thanks so much.
I appreciate that, fellas. Have a great day.
Take care, man.
Pride of Wiggins, Colorado.
I'm telling you, dude. Dalton Risner.
Can you imagine if everyone had that same mindset? Could you just sit there for a second? The maturity of that kid. He makes us look like children.
Yeah, he really does.
Seriously. Moser, you are a child.
Speak for yourself, Lombardi. Knock it off,
I am speaking
guys.
for myself. Moser, you're a child.
Speak for yourself.
Got to take a break here. We're back in 3 minutes. All right, with everything going on, we just talked to Dalton Risner. If you missed that conversation, check out the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Moser, Lombardi, and Kane. Obviously, this is the first day that we are simulcasted on Altitude Television as well, so you can tune in there. Moj, I'm scared.
I'm going to barf. I know what you're going to say. And if you want me to puke live on TV and on the radio,
I'm scared too.
Why was McKinnon not on the bench? What's going on?
I'm scared.
Lower body injury. If you want me to temper your fears, let me try to do this. I'm hoping, I'm feeling it's nothing major.
Hope it's just a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You hope it's just a muscle.
Correct. I don't have any inside information. We went back, Kaner, and we looked the best we could. Kiefer and Riker did it in the studio. Pete and I, with our director, went back. We couldn't find any situation where we go, right there, that's it. That's what the problem is. So that's good. Again, I mean, it could be, I don't even want to speculate. I have no idea. But we couldn't find anything. And then Jared Bednar asked about it after the game, said, I don't know. I was just told when we were getting ready to come out for the third period that he couldn't go. So if it's nothing that they noticed, and I have no reason to believe that Bednar would lie to us because of all the guys, he's pretty damn honest about things, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, in terms like that, he doesn't give specifics, but he would say, yeah, we knew he was hurt. So if he says, hey, but we were ready to come out for the third and I was told he couldn't go, then to me, if they don't see anything major, he didn't get cut down, he didn't get tied up in a corner, hopefully it's nothing serious. But I would doubt that if he left the game, I would doubt he'd play tomorrow night.
You make a great point. It's not like watching Bellemare go down, right? You see that. You see the injury.
By the way,
you're devastated.
Bednar said he's doing pretty good. He feels really good. Yeah, he feels way better. Good to know. That maybe this is not as serious as we thought it would be.
But, here you are. You're watching the Avs game. They get an early lead. Third period starts. 29 is not there. Moser's calling the game, and he's asking, where's 29? Moser, I could sense panic in your voice.
Yes.
Well, you were panicking at that point.
Okay, let me explain, dude. If all of a sudden the fourth quarter started and Nikola Jokic isn't on the floor.
Yes, you're panic.
And like, is he even on the bench? No. Oh, Christ. What would he do?
I don't know.
They're checking ambulances and dumpsters.
And you just said it.
Parking lots for cats.
In a nutshell, you just said it. The weight with which these future Hall of Fame players, I said it, yes, future Hall of Fame players, the weight they carry in this market. Think about it. Nathan McKinnon's not on the bench, and Moser's dry heaving. Nikola Jokic, over the course of a weekend, scored 82 points. He scored 47 last night, tied a career high yesterday afternoon. The guy is unstoppable. And then Friday, the Colorado Rockies let go of a future Hall of Fame third baseman. So right under our noses here are three young future Hall of Fame players. And we take it for granted sometimes. We just do.
Yeah.
And I feel shame for doing so.
Well, you should feel shame.
Here's the other part of that. And you know what? I don't know if this is official yet, Marty. Can you get the yodeler ready and so we can get an official tally on how many points Nikola Jokic scored last night? Because I'm not sure. Vic, you said a number. It's never official until Mike Francesa tells me how many points. So how many points did Jokic have last night?
3,
Go ahead,
4,
Mike.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Keep
10.
going.
11, 12,
Higher.
13, 14, 15,
More than
16,
that.
17, 18, 19, 20,
Keep going.
21,
Not even
22,
yet.
23,
And that was just the first
25,
quarter.
26, 27, 28, 29,
By halftime.
30, 31, 32, 33,
Yep.
34, 35,
Halftime was
36,
33.
37, 38, 39, 40,
Keep it going.
He's hitting all the right
42,
numbers.
44, 46, 48.
Oh, he missed it.
Oh, he missed it.
See, we bored him, though. We bored Mike. I'm sorry that we bored you. We had you going by twos. I should have stopped you. My bad.
What's crazy about Nikola Jokic's performance yesterday afternoon, primetime in Serbia, is that he could have scored 60 if he wanted to. He literally could have scored 60.
Okay, so
Utah was dumb enough to single team. They didn't double him. They decided to go single on him, and they did it with Bogdanovich to start the game. They didn't even put Gobert on him. They said, you know what, we're going to throw Bogdanovich on him and see what happens.
Couldn't believe it. So if my calculations are correct, that game tipped off at like, golly, Vic, is it 10:30 at night in Serbia? Like something like
What do
that?
you think I am? An Atlas?
Well, if the difference between France and the U.S. is 8 hours, I got to figure Serbia has got to be 9 hours.
I would guess it was.
What am I, an encyclopedia?
It's an 8-hour difference to Italy. I know this.
On my head.
I will guess a 9-hour. I will guess a 1:30 start here is a 9-hour difference.
So how much do you think that figures into him just going off, or is it the fact that Bogdanovich was on him and not Gobert to start that game? Because he went, Brett, this is an industry term. Write this down. Okay. He went off. He went off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
he had to.
3 Fs?
He got off.
Yeah. He had to.
All right.
The Nuggets were up 25 at halftime. They were up by as many as 28. They were up 28 points, and the lead got whittled to 8 early in the fourth, and I'm sitting there going, what is going on? Thankfully, order restored again.
Third quarters need to be banished. I don't think that they're allowed anymore. You know what they need to do? If I'm Michael Malone, I'm doing this. You know how in hotels, they don't have the 13th floor in a lot of hotels because people are stupid and they got feelings about the.
They don't?
Yeah, if you go to some hotels, it goes from 11, 12, 14.
They have superstitions, correct.
Yes.
I was unaware of this.
I think what Malone should do, he should call it quarters 1, 2, 4, and 5. Let's just get rid of the third, and then we can just do quarters 4 and 5, and we can kind of move on from there. Because third quarters are death. They are death for this basketball team.
What time are we visiting with Nuggets GM Tim Connelly?
Marty?
What time does that happen?
Is that 9?
I don't know what time that is in Serbia, but it's 9 a.m. Mountain Standard.
Okay, so can you imagine?
If you want me to look it up, I'll look it up.
Can you imagine asking Connelly, what would it take for you to trade Nikola Jokic I don't know, trade him to the Clippers and throw in $50 million for a couple G Leaguers?
Dude.
Because that's the equivalent of what happened over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it not?
Yep. I mean, and you've somehow cultivated a bad relationship with that star player that you need to be very, very good. I will say this, though, going back to that game last night, the Nuggets, when you put the wood to the team that is the hottest team in all of basketball right now, I don't care how it comes. I know it made you nervous there in the beginning of the fourth. They whittled that lead down to 8 points. What did they shoot from 3 in that game yesterday?
In the first half, Brett Kane, the Denver Nuggets were 15 of 17 from 3. Everything they threw up went in. I mean, think about that. 15 of 17. I got a chance to watch a game courtside, first time this year, right? So we switched up roles, and I had forgotten how good these guys are. I forgot the ability to make threes in an NBA game. They make it look so damn easy.
Yep.
15 of 17. Joker did not miss a 3 last night, by the way.
What's amazing to me, too, is that, and by the way, he's been struggling with his three-point range.
Not the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, he suddenly found it again. What's amazing to me is that the Jazz took almost 20 more three-pointers than the Nuggets did, right? I mean, they just tried to play catch-up by just chucking the ball up.
That's what they do.
Kane, they were the hottest team coming into the game, 15-4, and they're just all flying all over the place and coming off a beat down just a couple of nights before, and then the Nuggets came home from that roadie. They lost to San Antonio, but they came home from that roadie, and they laid the wood, man. They did everything. Listen, I know they had a huge lead, and I know it got whittled down. They won the game comfortably. They did.
That was a signature win. Hey, Marty, do we have the soundbite with Michael Malone talking about whether he knew Joker was close to 50? Because would you guys agree with me? Most NBA players, right, when they get to that point, they're going to try to score 50. Right? They're going to try.
Sure.
They're going to try to get to 50 points. 50 is just that one, that's that milestone achievement in a game.
Nick, we're on television. We have a hard out now.
No, not at the end of this hour. Continue.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
I know the rules.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So when Joker got to 47, right, everyone on the court was like, well, we're at 47. He's got to get to 50. Nuggets call timeout, and they pull the starters out of the game. And Jamal... Yeah, I don't know how to react to this because Jamal sort of threw the ball in a fun way. Okay, there wasn't anything mean about it, but in a fun way, he threw the ball at Malone and said, "What are you doing? We're trying to get him 50." And after the game, coach didn't understand what was going on because coaches are into the game, right? Do you think at any point Nikola Jokic knew how many points he had? Do you believe that?
No.
I think if there's one player on the planet who has no concept of where he is scoring-wise, it's Nikola Jokic.
Somebody would have told him. Somebody would have told him.
I don't think so, bro. I'm sure I've dealt with him enough. I don't think so.
Hang on. I don't think he would be following along, but I think Jamal would have said, bro, get another 3. You get 50. I'm sure
Brett,
somebody would say that to him.
But Brett, even if they did, I don't think he would give a rat's rip one way or another.
No, you're right.
What I feel about Nikola Jokic is he gets in the locker room and somebody hands him a sheet and he says, "What did I do tonight?" That's what I feel like happens most often. That's what I mean. At least that's the way he normally operates.
Lot to talk about today, guys. If you want in on any of it, 303-504-0925. You got thoughts on Nolan, you got thoughts on the Stafford trade, the Broncos missing out, whatever you want. 303-504-0925. We're back in 3 minutes. Again, day one on Altitude TV for the simulcast. Me and Marty decided to look our best. At the top of every hour, we'll be looking like we are the television stars that we will become. So at the top of every hour, we are just going to be throwing.
What did Marty just do with his collar?
Yeah,
what are you popping your collar now?
Stop it.
It was a rush job.
Brett, Marty, you guys are not going to be cast on a new remake of Melrose Place, so you might as well stop acting like the fool. All
I feel like I am. Me and Marty are in Hollywood. We're waiting to go to the opening of a brand new art exhibit.
In all honesty, and I mean this as a friend, this is not a critical remark. Marty, what is going on with this hair right in here? Like right here. right
I
by
tell
the
you,
ear.
but it's kind of a TV thing, and I don't think you'd get it.
Yeah.
What is going on? Are you trying to hide your ears? What are you doing?
I'm a little self-conscious at the size of the ears, so yes.
Hey, quickly, as we're talking about trades all day, and specifically the one that involves, that place down in Lodo, how about this? What was the reaction that you had? Stafford traded 2 firsts, a third, and Jared Goff. Were you thinking to yourself, that was too much for the Broncos?
No. Well,
No. I wasn't
not
surprised
really.
at all.
No, because we talked about it all last week. I told you on Friday how valuable I thought Matt Stafford was. How valuable did the Rams think he was? They traded Goff. And by the way, Stafford's making less than Goff. So, the Lions took that contract on. And
That's
he's only
exactly
26.
right.
That's
he's only
why,
26.
by the way, that's why I think they got that extra first rounder for him, is that's
Maybe.
the kicker for you taking the contract we don't want.
He's a valuable guy, Brett.
You know what's funny about that trade is most of the NFL, I think it's history is spoken. Oh, number 1 picks are so valuable. I mean, you cannot live without number 1 draft picks, right? You got to have first-round draft choices to survive. By the time this is all said and done, the LA Rams will have gone 7 years without a number 1 draft choice. They don't care.
That's nothing. Waiting
See,
7 years.
isn't that amazing that the Rams are going to go from 2016 to 2024, that time frame with no first round picks?
They don't care.
What if they win? I mean, let's think about it.
Then they're not real
If they-
first-round picks. They're more like second-round picks.
But if they do win, because everybody says, "Oh, you can't give away your picks, you can't," and there's a certain part of me that completely agrees with that. But Matt Stafford is a damn fine quarterback. If they somehow win their division, go to the NFC title game, they don't have to go to the Super Bowl. Does it throw that narrative out the window?
Well, here's the thing, Moj. This is where the Rams might be onto something, but this only works if they win a Super Bowl, okay? That's the only way that this works.
Super Bowl or bust for you. That's it.
That's the difference, though. That's why they traded 2 firsts and a third and Jared Goff to get Stafford. You want to know why the Broncos didn't do that and the Rams did? The Rams said, we're making this move to win a Super Bowl. The Broncos were making the move for Stafford to be competitive. Different situation entirely.
And, you come to learn, too, a lot of these deals, the reason why, for example, the Broncos and the 49ers have been active in trades recently, there have been a lot of little moves between those two organizations because they have pieces in those teams. They know each other, relationships. They know each other very well. Well, look at what's happened here between Detroit and L.A. The Rams sent the new Detroit general manager is a former member of the Rams front office.
Brad Holmes,
he knows them better than anybody. That's how these deals happen, right? He knew going in that the Rams were done with Goff, that McVay was done with Goff. Hell, we heard the soundbite. Was it Les Snead on these airwaves last week that we played that interview?
Pull that up, please, again, Marty. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever heard. A GM getting boxed into a corner, being forced to make a decision. And you heard the response from Les Snead on Jared Goff, and you said, oh, he's gone. I didn't think it would be this fast, but Marty, you got it?
Oh, Jared Goff's he's a Ram right now. So what's the deal?
He was already working on the. He'd already been in contact with the Lions. They'd already
It was
talked
finalized.
out-
The trade was done already.
Of course.
Right, exactly right. He'd already
Who
talked
wins that deal, guys?
A bunch of stuff.
On the surface, who wins that deal? Is it the team that gets what? If I looked at both quarterbacks, I think Stafford's better than Jared Goff. Are we in agreement there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even at 32,
Okay.
as opposed to 26. Yes.
But you also have to send first-round picks the other way. Who wins that deal?
I'll be honest with you. I think that everybody got what they wanted out of this trade except for one, Jared Goff. Jared Goff didn't want to go to Detroit. He's the only guy I think that lost. Now, he wanted to get out of L.A. because he felt underappreciated or maybe not appreciated at all. But Stafford gets to go to a team that has a chance to contend. The Rams got themselves an upgrade at the quarterback position, and the Lions got really valuable draft capital in return to maybe, you know what, you kick the tires on Goff and see if he's got game still. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible for both sides to win, to get what they want. That's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be one side beating the other side down hard. I think both sides got what they want. I think Stafford, with the way the Rams are constructed, especially when you've got Russell Wilson in your dang division, and the 49ers are going to be coming on strong again. They're going to try to fix their quarterback woes. they want to get out in front of the game, and credit the Rams for being bold and making that deal. My first reaction, though, Brett, to go back to your original point, I was sad because I think Matt Stafford could definitely help the Denver Broncos. And the fact that they were in the mix, and you knew they were in the mix is a big deal, but they just couldn't give enough.
I read Peter King's column this morning. Not only were they in the mix, they put together a nice package. They were very aggressive, not just in the mix. The Broncos were aggressive in their pursuit of Matt Stafford, which goes back to my question as we had Dalton Risner on the show half an hour ago, and he was fabulous. If you missed it, we'll podcast it shortly. And I asked Dalton, imagine what it's like being Drew Lock, driving around Denver, hearing all this stuff. Imagine right now Drew Lock is set to meet with George Payton today at Broncos headquarters, according to Risner.
Yeah.
He's meeting with the GM. Imagine that conversation. Oh, so I hear you made an aggressive run at Matt Stafford. What am I supposed to do now?
Hey, you know what? Here's what you're supposed to do: get in and play your quarterback and do your job. That's it. It's not George Payton's job to pacify Drew Lock, as difficult as that may sound. And by the way,
I'm not saying he should, but it tells you what he thinks of him, right? I mean, even before any handshakes are made, it tells you what he thinks of him.
I understand, but as soon as the deal went down, my first thought, and this is unfair, but my first thought was, okay, well, they're not going to get Watson, so they're going to have to go with Lock. And that's unfair to the kid, I think, a little bit, because he's still young, and there's so many things I like about Drew Lock, and I think that's what Peyton has to do. He has to angle it that way. Listen, we're always going to try to make the football team better. Now, Drew, we didn't do the deal. You're the guy still. Now go on out there and be the guy. And by the way, we are going to bring someone in to compete with you. Don't think for a second that because they couldn't land Stafford, and the Watson thing to me is just an absolute crapshoot. They aren't going to bring somebody else in to at least give the kid a little bit of a run.
Yeah, but Moj, here's the deal. I think for the context of what happens at quarterback now, who starts at quarterback next season, I think that's answered already. I think the second Stafford got traded, you got your answer. Drew Lock's coming back for another year. And yes, they might get Fitzpatrick or Andy Dalton or somebody like that as a backup. But what's really the next move you're going to make? Deshaun Watson ain't happening. Carson Wentz, do you want to pull the trigger and see if there's something like that after missing out on Stafford? Are you really going to?
He's broken. He's broken.
I know, but what I'm saying is, so then what? Now you go to the draft. Are you really going to draft like a Trey Lance at number 9 overall? He's not going to play right away. I think the only option you got now is Drew Lock comes back as your starter. And look, you took a swing and you took a big hack and you missed, and that's fine. It's nothing that had to do with you.
And I guess the conversation, if I were George Payton, and he's going to have a conversation with Drew Lock today, and the conversation is pretty simple. Listen, man, we're trying to improve the team in every capacity. You take the best position player on the squad. I mean, if Dalton Risner is meeting with George Payton, and George decided to go after a top-notch free agent guard or a trade for a guard, no harm done, man. We're trying to improve the team. You got to prove it to me. I don't have to prove anything to you. That's my point. If you're the GM.
Situation. Yeah, they know the situation, Vic. They
By the way, here we are. We just spent the last 6 minutes. Thanks to those who are not only listening on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, but now simulcast today on Altitude Television. So if you turn on your television Altitude, here we are.
Look at my smile. Look at this smile. Look at this.
We spent the first 6 minutes of this segment talking about a trade and who won and who lost. See, that's how it's supposed to work. When trades happen in sports, it is wonderful subject material for talk show radios. This is what we do. We talk about trades, who won, who lost. But when you finish a trade and there's only one winner at the end, what are we supposed to say? How do you evaluate what we just witnessed last Friday?
Yeah.
How do we sit and break down, well, that's the winners and losers of the Nolan Arenado trade? Because let me tell you what a trade is. I'll show you what a trade is. When the Colorado Rockies traded Matt Holliday, and we all knew Matt Holliday wanted out. Do you remember that, Moshe?
Of course. Yeah,
remember?
Of course.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So they get to the World Series, and then the following season, Peter's out, and they're not the same team anymore. And Matt Holliday wants to go win a World Series. He wants to win. So if you remember, back then, the Rockies were actually in cahoots with the Cardinals. They were going to trade Matt Holliday to St. Louis for, God, who was that? Ryan Ludwig. He was a guy, 37 home runs. He was a guy they were talking about trading him straight up. Those trade talks broke down. So then the Rockies turned to the Oakland Athletics, and they fleece Billy Beane. They trade Matt Holliday to Oakland for Carlos Gonzalez and Houston Street. And at the time, Houston Street was the marquee name in that trade. It wasn't Cargo. Cargo was some little-known dude. Yeah, he's got some power, some potential, some pop. How'd that trade work? That's how you make a trade. That's called trading a product and getting a product back. Not what the Rockies did Friday night.
Well, and we can break more of that down. If you guys want in, I do want to hear from you. 303-504-0925 is the Johnson Auto Plaza listener line. If you guys want in, we're back in 3 minutes. That's right. It's the debut of the TV simulcast, and, people are happy to talk to us now. I don't know, maybe the TV thing's part of it, but guess who we got on the phone with us right now? This man's playing in the Super Bowl in a few days. It is Ryan Jensen of the Bucks. Ryan, how are you this morning? Thanks for the time.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Dude, so this is how NFL Media Week works? You're just reporting live from your own living room? You don't, go to a hotel and do this?
Yeah, apparently, they have a couple tents set up at the facility. I did a couple this morning, and now they're like, yeah, if there's any other outside media that's not required, just do it from home. It's kind of nice.
Well, Ryan, we're big fans of yours, obviously, being a Colorado kid and representing the West Side in the Super Bowl, and we know your story. For those that don't, hey, we had We had Dalton Risner on about an hour ago, Broncos guard, and I know you and Dalton are both similar stories, small town Colorado, make it to the NFL. Listen to what Dalton had to say about your story.
Oh, that's pretty awesome, man. You don't have to ask him anything. If anything, just tell him that I have a lot of respect for him and his story, where he's come from, and how much he's worked, and how hard he's trained to get to where he's at today. Because, he comes from Fort Morgan and then played at Division II CSU Pueblo, and then he went to the Ravens and now the Bucks, and now he's at the Super Bowl, and he's really deserving, man. And he had a kick-ass year. He dominated some guys. So just tell him congrats for me, if anything.
Well, that's Dalton Risner. Let's start right there, Ryan. First of all, it must mean a lot for you to hear that from some of your colleagues in the league.
Yeah, it's awesome, especially from another small town kid. Wiggins, Fort Morgan, about 10 minutes apart. So it's awesome. I'm excited for him. He's a young, great player that is up and coming in this league, and I'm excited to see where his career goes. It's awesome that he's a hometown kid playing for his hometown team. So that's exciting. But I appreciate what he says and all that. It's awesome to hear from him.
Ryan, we've been to Super Bowls before, and it's usually a circus. We had Shaq Barrett on last week, and we say, hey, what are you going to do? You're in your hometown. Do you just hang out at home all week? And he said, I guess so. I don't really know. So how does this Super Bowl week work? I mean, here we sit on a Monday, and you've got a lot of preparation to go, but you're at home. I mean, it's kind of cool. First team to ever play in its home stadium for a Super Bowl. What happens this week?
Yeah, it's luckily for it being a pandemic, there's nothing crazy going on. It's like a normal work week besides the extra media. Even Kansas City, they're not coming in until the day before the game. Normally both teams are in the same city for that entire week. So it's just kind of crazy, driving home from the facility and you see all like the Super Bowl experience and all that. And it's like, man, I really wish, I could go there. My family could go there, but this week, with everything going on with the pandemic, we can't, family can't go and hang out there. People can't come to the house. It's kind of crazy. It kind of sucks a little bit, but it's awesome to be in the Super Bowl. That's for sure.
Ryan, can you take me through the process? Like, you signed your contract with the Bucks in 2018, so you had the Jameis Winston experience, and then give me the process of, we had Jameis for the last couple of years. Now we're moving to Tom Brady. Did that immediately, like, you hear the news, you're like, oh God, we should be thinking championship now. Once you hear his name get involved.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear Tom Brady and anything, immediately you think championship quality team, and my mindset was always that, even with Jameis, that we're going to go out and we're going to go win a championship. But you had Tom Brady, who this is his 10th Super Bowl. You had somebody like that, and it immediately, I think, changes the attitude of the team. So maybe some of those guys that didn't believe that we had a championship quality team, all of a sudden you bring a guy in like Tom, and now you're like, oh, okay, well, now we have an opportunity. So it's awesome. And when I got that phone call from Jason Light, who's our GM, saying, hey, we just signed Tom Brady, I was like, is this real life? This is crazy. But no, it's been a crazy year. It's been awesome.
You are an NFL center. Your job is to bend over and hand the ball to a quarterback through your legs.
Okay.
I want you to take us back to those early days when Tom signed and the butt sweat situation you had going, and how did you fix that?
Yeah, so when after Jason had called me and let me know that Tom was about to call me, I was expecting a phone call, and he sent me, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm sitting in my basement in Evergreen, and Tom FaceTimes me. I'm like, I wasn't expecting a FaceTime. Kind of caught me off guard. But we talked about like the normal conversation. Oh, hey, how you doing? Where are you going to live at? All that fun stuff. And then immediately got into business. He goes, all right, so I got to ask you about your sweat situation. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, Tom's going to make you shove a towel down your ass, and I'm like, all right. So immediately, jumped right into it. The towel, fold it down the crack, half a bottle of baby powder, and
oh my God,
keep this baby dry. I'm going to take you to the Super Bowl. I'm like, all right. So
okay, wait.
Yeah, it was right out of Jump Street.
Hang on. This is nobody has this experience except for guys like you, Ryan. So is this a normal conversation between new quarterback and center, or is this feels like you're going on like a Tinder date for the first time and they're like, all right, here's my red flags. I'm going to get this all out in the open now. Like, what is that a normal process?
I mean, I don't think that's quite a normal process, but with Tom Brady, apparently it is. Just right out of left field. Hey, let's talk about your ass real quick. It was crazy.
Hey, listen, Ryan, I'm not going to I don't want to get foul here at all. But if Tom Brady comes to my team and we get a chance to win a Super Bowl, I'll shove anything anywhere he wants.
Okay.
I mean, well, I'm just saying. Okay, I guess that came out wrong, but you know what I mean. You have a chance.
Yes.
You have a chance, Ryan.
You sacrifice.
That is correct, and you're like cool. The fact that you're cool with that makes me very cool with that. I like it.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy. It was pretty uncomfortable at first, but it's just one of those things. Now it's just day in and day out putting the towel down your crack. You get used to it.
Right on.
All right, speaking of Tom, Peyton came through town, and we heard stories of Peyton just getting in guys' faces and raising all boats. Right, that's what these players do. What's it like competing with Tom Brady when he gets crazy out there? Because he likes to talk. He talks a lot during game.
It's awesome. I love it. I'm a big talker too on the field, and his energy and my energy kind of match up when it comes to that. So, when things aren't going right in the game, though, like he's good at getting guys back on track. I know there was this huge thing about in the Chicago game. There's a picture of him. It looks like he's just screaming at me.
Yeah.
When in real life, he was yelling at all of us. It just looked like I was taking the brunt of it. But he's got a way of bringing the team back together when things aren't going right and get everybody focused back up. So that's what it's like. It's so competitive and such a strong leader that when he speaks, people listen.
Well, maybe it feels like it's you because when I need to locate Jensen on the field, it's an easy thing to do. I just look for the red hair flying out the bottom of the helmet, and maybe if he's yelling at you, then people say, oh, yeah, he's all over Jensen's bacon when he's all over everybody's. But I followed your team, Ryan, obviously from day one this year, and things started to open up midseason. And I don't know how that works and whether Tom gets more comfortable in the offense or he starts doing more of what he likes to do, and Bruce says, okay, go do your thing. But what clicked for you guys like midway through the year when the passes started working, the deep ball started going, and the offense started to be really prolific?
Yeah, I think with a shortened off season, not having OTAs and stuff like that, we didn't have as an offense. It's all about timing and getting comfortable with each other. And I think with BA's offense, it's a pretty complicated offense. Getting together and finally getting that continuity of, this is where we need to be, on each pass play, all those minute details, and then that feel. I think it just took a little bit of extra time, and then, Tom started getting comfortable, and when Tom's comfortable, he's dangerous.
Ryan, you brought up Bruce Arians, and I can't believe it just hit me now. I've been begging to ask somebody this question who would know all season long. What is the bomb he has tied to his chest in the middle of games? What is that thing right in the middle? It looks like he's about to take hostages in 5 minutes.
He's Darth Vadered out is what he is.
What is that?
It's his headphones for his the on-field communication. Most normal coaches wear it around their waist for whatever reason. He wears it. He wears it like a like you said, like a hostage vest.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to go full Iron Man with it. It's just right here in the middle.
Well, dude, we're rooting for you, man. We hate Kansas City, obviously, being in Denver. Gotta hate the Chiefs. If you looked at their defense, what kind of danger do they present, and how do you deal with it?
What they do good is they pressure the quarterback with blitzes and they bring a lot of pressure. So for us as an offense, picking up and identifying those pressures is what's going to be huge. Spags, their defense coordinator, I was with him in Baltimore, I think my first 2 years. And, he runs a lot of crazy stuff. But being able to pick that up and everybody being on the same page is a huge key for this game.
Yeah, don't give that offense the ball either. Keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands for as long as possible.
Good
That's
job,
got to
Vic.
be the recipe.
Great game plan, Vic.
Yeah,
nice
if you
job.
want Vic to zoom into your guys'
I got you
for this
I
week,
got
Vic's
you.
got you.
I got you. Talcum powder on the butt and keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands.
Great game plan.
Great game plan.
Hey, man, we're proud. Hey, Ryan, we're proud of you. Hey, good luck. Go get those guys, man. Have a great time this week. Enjoy the process.
Will do. I appreciate you guys for having me.
There you
Take
go,
care,
Ryan
man.
Jensen.
Ryan Jensen, the pride of Fort Morgan, now representing Colorado in the Super Bowl. Dude, can you imagine that story? You're getting ready. You just signed Tom Brady, and he FaceTimes you and says, "Yeah, how's your butt?"
First of all, he said not expecting the FaceTime. So let's do just step one.
Yeah.
You're expecting a phone call from Tom Brady, like, okay, Tom Brady's going to call me. And then it's a FaceTime. Oh my God, he's going to look great. I have to look kind of good, don't I? Can I shave real quick? So that's number one. Number two is, hey, Ryan, what's up? Yeah, I'm going to live over here. Shut up for a second. Towel down the crack, half a bottle of baby powder every time. I'm not dealing with that sweat, okay?
Done. Let's do it. And by the way, Fort Morgan, we had Dalton on from Wiggins. Yeah, as you said, about
Joel
10 minutes
Dreesen's
away.
got to be smiling right now, by the way. Joel, you started this thing.
All those Northeast Colorado guys have got to be very prideful, but Fort Morgan's a great little community, man. I didn't get a chance to ask him, is he a North Sider of 76 or is he a South Sider of 76?
Got to take a quick break here. We got Tim Connelly joining us in the 9 o'clock hour. Ben Hochman also joining us in the 9 o'clock hour, breaking down that Nolan trade to St. Louis. We're back in 3 minutes.
Because when Nolan Arenado committed to that 8-year, $260 million contract, he did so believing that the Rockies were going to build around him. When they did not go out and spend after a disappointing 2019 season that frustrated him, he felt like he'd been lied to. And at that point, when he's getting into beef with general manager Jeff Bridich with the Colorado Rockies, all of a sudden it felt like it was a fait accompli that he was going to leave at some point. They were able to bridge those gaps with the Cardinals and ultimately come together on a deal that doesn't return a ton of talent to Colorado, but when it all came down to it, this was about getting somebody who did not want to be there.
Jeff Passan, when he says that, it's a deal that didn't return a lot of it didn't return a lot of anything.
In fact, can we do something moving forward when discussing the Nolan Arenado blank? I don't want to call it a trade because it's not a trade.
What do you want to call it?
Well, we're not calling this a trade because that's not right. It's an injustice to the word trade. I mean, look up the word trade. Look it up. Google trade. Right. What is trade? Give me the definition of trade.
I'm on it.
Trade.
I want the real definition of trade.
Okay,
if we're going to do this the right way. In here.
The business of buying and selling or bartering commodities, commerce. 2, business, market, novelties for a tourist trade, did a good trade in small appliances, blah, blah, blah. Dealing between persons or groups.
All right, there's dealings. Okay, I'll give them that much. There was a dealing, but nothing came here as much as went there. So you cannot call this a bona fide trade. I'm not doing it.
Is it fleece?
I'm not dignifying it with the word trade.
The great fleecing of 2021.
I don't want to give it. I don't want to give it that connotation either. I just want to say it was more of a
the giveaway.
A garage sale. I don't know. I mean, what? An estate sale? An estate sale.
We were going to sit here until Vic came up with something because you kept throwing stuff out there, Moj, and he kept saying no, no, no. So it's the Nolan garage sale?
Okay, when you're hold on.
How about a Goodwill donation?
When you're driving around the neighborhood, you always know when old people pass because there's an estate sale, right? There's all kinds of like this old stuff, and they're selling it for virtually nothing. And I'm not saying anybody passed, but it feels like it. It feels like something happened. I mean, they're giving a product away for nothing. In fact, when you drive by and there's a refrigerator or a couch and it says free, it's more than that. It's not only free, it's we will give you $50 to take this couch.
Yep.
Okay. Mark Couscous
we'll pay you to take this.
On the Twitch, this Mark Couscous guy. Moser traded his Broncos season tickets to lose 50% of his stuff.
I was going to say, this is the worst fleecing since your divorce proceedings, but I didn't want to go there.
I mean, that's true. You traded Broncos season tickets.
You gave away season tickets.
And
Think about
away 50% of your belongings.
Okay. All right, listen. This is a Monday. It's our first day on the television side of things. For everybody who's new to the program, we've got more and more people coming every day. Great to have you aboard. Thank you very much. Listen, I will let you bash me today on that. Today will be the day when I open up and say, okay, it's a big free-for-all. Yes, I had Broncos season tickets. Yes, they're gone. Yes, my stuff is gone. Yes, okay? And then from this day... Martin, don't laugh at me. You and your haircut. From this day forward...
Yes, my life is in shambles, but where are we going here?
From this day forward, everything is chill, right? Can we agree on that, Vic?
So, Marty,
Brett, can we agree?
Fine. How about this? How about Nolan got mojed?
Okay, we're not saying... No, I'm not becoming a Munson.
The Rockies got Moser.
I'm not going to become... Like, you remember Kingpin?
Yes.
He got Munson.
In the
what
middle
the hell did you say? What are you talking about? What do you mean he got Munson to get his hand cut off? We're not doing that, dude. I can't live with that.
But guys, I want you to hear this again. I mean, really pay attention to this. This is former GM executive in the MLB who was a one-time executive of the year in the MLB. His thoughts on this trade.
His name is Jim
Bowden.
Right.
His thoughts on this trade are, I don't know if you can put it much better than the way that he did. And now I'm having, here it is. Okay. If the initial reports are accurate, this is one of the most lopsided trades in baseball history. It will go down in history as one of the worst trades ever made by an MLB team.
Okay, what's the worst trade? Babe Ruth?
Well,
is Babe Ruth the worst trade ever?
Woody Page had a great column yesterday. He called the trade for Babe Ruth, and at least the Boston Red Sox got something out of it. They got cash. They got $300,000 in cash. They got cash money for Babe Ruth.
And it wasn't no net either. It wasn't. It was a different play. It was not.
They got money. They didn't give money. They got money. Boston got money for Babe.
Here's the other part, though, guys, and this is why I think that quote I just read from Jim Bowden is so important. You guys remember, especially people who used to be involved in the league. Think about Gruden on Monday Night Football. When he was an analyst on Monday Night Football, how much did he criticize somebody on the field, a team, a coach, an organization, a player?
Not often.
Not a ton.
Because he probably knew that one day he'd get back into it, or I get friends in the business or something like that. Bowden just said, damn all of that. This is stupid. And there's no other way to put it.
I started the show with this, and I still haven't. No one's changed my mind, and I don't think anybody can. This is the worst trade in the history of Colorado sports, and I'm thinking about trades. You know, the Cutler trade when Jay Cutler when he was playing some pretty good football. I mean, he was on his up and up. He was,
but Vic, you knew about Cutler as a dude. I mean,
understood, but it wasn't a good trade.
He's the Antichrist, but McDaniels.
Moser, they got Kyle Orton in return. That was not a good trade.
Well, yeah, but you also got a cool neck beard.
That was not a good trade. I don't care how anybody cuts it. You can say what you want about Jay Cutler.
That ain't anywhere
Cutler
close
for
to
Kyle
this.
Orton is a horrible trade.
Listen, Cutler never went on to win a Super Bowl or anything like that. God forbid Nolan goes to win a World Series, and that's what he wants. But, I mean, that trade was nowhere near like this one, period. Think about the Nuggets. I mean, is there any trade that comes to your mind? The Avalanche? Any trade that comes to mind that's anywhere remotely close? Pierre Lacroix didn't lose too many damn trades.
Well,
maybe the Drury trade, God rest his soul, too. He was an unbelievably awesome GM.
Yeah, the answer is no, but it's for a very simple reason. Did your team, here's the chart, did your team trade future Hall of Famer in his prime and give away $50 million? If the answer is no, then it's not worse than what the Rockies did.
Let me ask you guys a couple questions here because I want to get to the bottom of why now, right? Why didn't they trade him last year when there was much more value and opportunity and a year removed basically from that opt-out? Was this trade, and I'm using that term and I want to change that term, was this garage sale, was it financially motivated?
Of course it was.
Okay. Why was it financially motivated?
Because the Rockies are incredibly dependent on butts in the seats, Vic.
So COVID motivated this sale.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Again, I saw that tweet. I saw that tweet over the weekend, too, where somebody said, you know what, they made their TV deal, they got scared by what happened with us,
so they
took a deal and were locked it up.
Wait.
And then COVID hits and on and so forth.
Let him continue to reason because I want to. I'm pretending he's up on the.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm saying we all know the Rockies make a lot of bread by butts in the seats. They get $3 million whether they win or lose, and if they win, they get more than $3 million. The party deck is a money printing machine. Heck, Brett, your mom enjoys it there. I do too. That's okay.
Brett's mom enters the equation. Yes. All right, so they are so financially hamstrung right now that they're willing to give up $50 million up front to save $150 million down the road.
See, but this is where it doesn't make sense, guys. And this is I'm not even arguing the money. I don't know what their situation is. Maybe they really are hurting for money, and so they feel the need to give away.
Cash flush.
Hang on, Moj. They feel the need to give away 50 to get back 150. That doesn't answer this. You couldn't find any other team in the league willing to give you something in return still?
Not when every other team...
You want to do the salary dump thing with Arenado? You want to get rid of that because you don't have money? Fine. Find something in return.
Yeah. Not when every other team knew you lost all leverage. Not when you don't think every other team knows that they had to trade him?
Bro, Detroit said out loud in football, we don't want our quarterback anymore, and the quarterback doesn't want us, and they still netted 2 first-round picks for it. Even if you give away your leverage, he's a good enough player to where he commands something in return.
So you're saying that there's not a single other team in Major League Baseball that came forward and said, we'd like a shot at Nolan Arenado?
They're trying to tell me, and you know what? Maybe this is true. I just can't believe this. There's not a single team that would be willing to part with a top 10 prospect in their organization.
I think
there's not one that you would also have to pay $50 million for him to go to that they would give you something in return.
I couldn't have imagined this, Brett. I think you're on a right path here. At least somebody, one of the cash flush teams, would say, you know what? Well, I'll tell you what. We won't give you anything back but a sack of game-used baseballs. But we'll take on his full salary. And part of it too is that he could opt out still, right? I mean, that's still part of the equation? That contract goes the way it is to the Cardinals. He could flee.
Yeah.
He could leave. Hey. And so yeah, the odds are maybe he'll leave, and then you're still getting $50 million. I couldn't believe that you wouldn't have another team, even the damn Dodgers. And thank God he didn't go there yet. Wouldn't just say, we'll take on the salary and we'll give you a used glove.
I thought the Tulowitzki trade was the worst in franchise history, but in the end, Tulo petered out. His best days were behind him.
He broke down.
He petered out. The Rockies got zero in return. I mean, think about the guys the Rockies got for Tulo.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I mean, they got a shortstop who got in trouble and they had to pay a bunch of money to they got nothing. So that the net result of the Tulo trade was nothing. They both lost.
Let's get a quick...
This is ridiculous.
Quick phone call here, 303-504-0925. Matt, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. My cousin's a Cardinals fan, and he calls me laughing that we're giving them $55 million so they can take one of the best players in baseball. And we can get some bubble gum and some David Sunflower seeds in return.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
Well, what makes matters worse is that the feels like the Colorado Rockies over the last few years have become the Cardinals farm system, right? It's not just Nolan Arenado. I mean, Larry Walker ended up there. Matt Holliday, after a second go-around, ended up there. Dexter Fowler ended up there. I mean, what the hell's going on? Why are all these Rockies players finishing their careers with the St. Louis Cardinals?
You know what? Beyond that, guys, here's what I'm most concerned about, the fallout of this, and we got to take a break here in a second. Okay, so you did this and you're going to kickstart your rebuild. Well, typically what you do is you take the assets gained from trading away a really good player and you use them as part of the rebuild. Okay, well, you didn't get very good assets back for Nolan Arenado. So now what do you do with Trevor Story, guys? You either got to give him an extension or you got to trade him. Well, if you trade him, what's the value of Trevor Story now in the open market if that's what Nolan is?
They need to trade Trevor now. They cannot wait because he's not going to re-sign here. Just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid. And by the way, the reason why the Rockies had no leverage with Nolan, the opt-out was there for a reason. He wants to play for his hometown Dodgers. And the Rockies were trying to avoid that every which way.
Well, I don't blame
That is
them.
the one thing no one is talking about.
If he ends up on the Dodgers, and I'm sure he probably will, I will puke.
Show is brought to you by Mountain Breeze Heating and Air, your hometown team for heating and cooling. Give them a call at 303-288-2515.
I'll barf.
Got to take a break.
Barf.
Back in 3 minutes. Got Tim Connelly going to join us in about 10 minutes. He'll join us at 9 o'clock. Again, if you guys missed any of the show, check it out on the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Moser, Lombardi, and Kane. We are simulcasting on Altitude TV today. Back to football for a second, guys. I don't know if you guys saw this. We've had the amazing introductory press conferences for these first-time head coaches in the NFL this year. You might remember Dan Campbell wanting to bite off kneecaps. Did you guys happen to catch, I don't know if I'm saying his name right or not. Is it Nick Sirianni? Is that the new head coach of the Eagles, Sirianni?
Correct. Yeah, he's how do I put it, Brett? Yes, I did catch his act.
Well, here is, if you guys missed it, this is Nick Sirianni and also a man who was doing a book report on the book he didn't read. Go ahead.
Next thing that's very important to me is that we build a smart football team. That we have a smart football team here. And I know we have the people in place to do that. The first part of being smart is knowing what to do. We're gonna have systems in place that are easier to learn. All right, complicated to the defense or offense that they're going against or the special teams group they're going against, but easy for us to learn. Because when we can when we can learn our system and we can get good at our system, then our talent can take over. Less thinking equals talent take over, but we need to have systems in place, and we will have systems in place to do so.
Sounds like Vic talking hockey.
Just throwing a bunch of words out there.
Yeah. You got your pucks and your sticks, and then you skate a lot, and then you shoot, and then when you shoot, good things can happen because you're shooting the puck.
The only thing that could have made that better is if Nick Sirianni talked down to those people as he was saying that. Like, they were so stupid they wouldn't get his concepts, but he's stumbling his way through.
You
and he's
guys
just
wouldn't
like,
understand.
all right, step number one, listen, is to be smart. Be smart, okay? And once you have a foundation of intelligence, then we go to our systems. And you guys wouldn't know anything about systems. That's fine. I'm going to explain it to you. So here's the system. Moj, when you use your brain and then you do what you're supposed to do, then the system allows you, are you paying attention? Allows you to do the things that your intelligence would typically take over.
Yeah,
understand?
He just, again, it's Coach speaks, so maybe he's got it down, although he did it not in a very eloquent manner. It's 40 seconds of nothing is what it is, right? I've seen that new thing coming out where it's one dude and he pretends like he's two podcasters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And it's listen, I've got some thoughts to get out because, I like your thoughts too. That's why you're here. Yeah, and that's why I'm here is to think about things and they just go round and round and round doing nothing. Yeah.
Yes. So we really need to talk about this, yeah.
And then people
systems.
Where do they find this dude? I mean, where did he come from? I mean, I'm sure he's nervous, but golly, dude, have a little bit more calmness about you than that.
Do you guys? Can you envision a scenario where he crushed that interview with the Eagles front office? Like, do you think with him there was a moment where they left and they said, "Wow, this guy."
Who cares about the interview? Sorry, I mean, but I don't care if a coach crushes an interview. I care if a coach can coach. Can the coach coach?
Can he coach?
Who was Gary Kubiak? Did he crush interviews? He won a Super Bowl.
He's a pretty cerebral guy. He's a pretty smart dude.
Why are we so fascinated with the coach's first press conference? Like, this is going to impact the way he coaches.
Vic, you don't want a guy who's a dumb
systems
coaching your team. And these days, it's all about what? What is it all about these days? Systems.
This guy sounds like Vic trying to play Family Feud.
We're gonna have systems in place that are easier to learn.
That's awesome. That is you're right, Marty. It's the equivalent of this sound before Vic has to answer a question. Oh.
I don't. To me, it doesn't matter how a coach sounds in front of members of the media in his introductory Zoom press. I don't care. Can he coach?
But you won't even find that out for months and months and months. You don't right now, Vic. You have no idea what if this guy can coach or can't coach or can command a room full of professional men football players. You have no clue right now.
Here's the difference, Vic. You listened to Dalton Risner when we talked to him at 7:30 this morning. You felt inspired. You were like, this guy gets it. That's a leader.
I did.
You hear that dude, you're like,
yeah, but what he says, but what a coach says to the media, and this is an old practice. Anybody who played for Gary Kubiak knows this. I mean, Joel Dreesen used to tell me this all the time. Well, Gary Kubiak told the media and what he told the team in the locker room, two entirely different tones, right? Come on.
Well,
you guys know better than this.
Chet. No guff, Chet. I'm just saying he gives an outward appearance of a guy who's already in over his head. That's what it gives. Now, again, maybe he's going to coach his butt off. They'll keep Carson Wentz, and they'll go to the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know, but it's the first interaction. The first impression is stuff and systems and smart.
Systems.
Tool guy.
Hey, Vic, listen to this, by the way, because you've been talking about this for a while. The idea that drafting quarterbacks and how much of a crapshoot it is, right? Like every statistic bears out that this thing is just you're playing an impossible game. You can try and maneuver it the most you can in your favor of hitting on a first-round quarterback, but there's no guarantee. How's this? This is from Albert Breer. 22 quarterbacks were drafted in the first round between 2009 to 2016. Only one remains with the team that drafted him.
I saw that.
Carson Wentz.
That is crazy.
That's it. 22 guys drafted in the first round in that time frame, 2009 to 2016, and only one remains with that team.
What is happening? What is happening? Is it the Twitter attitude that is now surfaced in pro sports where patience is no longer a virtue, where we don't allow for growth, where we just run out of patience too quickly? Is this what's happening?
I mean, Vic, did you see what happened over the last 3 weeks in this town? Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, it was every shiny thing in front of us. We were running after it. Yes. Chasing it.
Okay, but at the same time, maybe guys are coming in and teams are saying either we know or we don't know quicker. They're not just sitting and waiting on a guy and waiting on a guy and waiting on a guy. It's, do we think he can play or do we think he can't play? And by the way, Brett, you talk about the 22 guys, only one guy is left in Carson Wentz, and who knows what his future holds. Was there a lot of is it poor drafting or is it bad choices that guy's not still with his same football team? Because it seems to me teams that gassed out their quarterbacks that didn't work out probably did a pretty damn good job. In terms of, I mean, they may have drafted poorly, but then they realize it and they say, we're not sticking with this, we're moving on, i.e. the Arizona Cardinals with Josh Rosen.
By the way, before we get to a break and get to Tim Connelly, say what you want about Stafford. Everybody should love Stafford for this one quote that he had, this report. Stafford told the Lions, quote, he'd take a trade anywhere but New England.
I love that.
There was one team that was off his list.
I saw that. What do you think motivated that comment?
Patricia.
That feeling. Was it Patricia?
Yeah.
He's
done with that.
So, going back to somebody on the text line just reminded me and makes a great point. Going back to you guys mocking the new Eagles coach for his introductory press conference. So you mean to tell me then, Lions fan, that you're all in on Dan Campbell?
Oh, no, he was mercilessly made fun of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happens. He didn't sound totally like incompetent. He just sounded like a juiced up meathead. So he got that treatment. Biting off kneecaps.
Would you rather have nervous stumble around smart guy or bite knees off guy?
I think bite knees off guy.
Okay, that's the guy you want.
Before.
Okay,
I've seen that guy before.
Moj, we've. Are you wearing a hospital gown? What are you wearing for this debut show on Altitude Television? What is that? You look like a doctor.
Well, it's the Catalina wine mixer.
No. I'm talking about what on the outside of that.
Yes.
What is that?
Vic, what do I wear? And you always give me crap for it. What do I wear constantly?
Hospital gowns.
Okay.
No, it really does look like you need to sterilize before a big surgery coming up in 10 minutes.
I mean, I know it's a big day. We're on network television all of a sudden. What are you doing?
What do I always wear? And you guys just give me rashes of crap for it every week.
Well, evidently, Dr. Moser,
it's a fishing shirt. It's a fishing shirt.
Hey, we got Connelly.
Let's go to Tim. Let's get Tim.
Take a quick break at the Tim Connelly next. Again, a exciting day for us as it's our first day on Altitude TV, and we are happy to be joined now by the president of basketball operations for your Denver Nuggets. That is Tim Connelly. Tim, always good to talk to you. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I like your hat. That's a sweet.
He's wearing an Avalanche hat.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, explain what the feeling is when you wake up and you're coming off of Nikola Jokic putting up 47 points last night. That's got to feel pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he's pretty good at basketball. Grabbed him last night. You got a future in this game. He was so good yesterday. He's been so great throughout the whole season. I don't think there's anybody in the league playing better than him. He's certainly carried us, and it's fun to watch. And he's such a humble guy. It makes him that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, can you give people a look-see at what his personality is all about? Because people ask, did Joker, was he aware that he was at 47 points? Did he want 50? Because his teammates certainly wanted him to go for 50. And I made the point, I don't think he knew or cared. What do you think?
He's so brilliant. I bet you he was aware, but I definitely don't think he cares. I mean, the guy plays perfect basketball. He takes whatever is given to him. He's like an algorithm out there. He quickly assesses the court and makes the right play. So he doesn't care. Our guys were trying to push him to take a three, but he didn't want to do it, and speaks to what type of guy he is.
Tim, when you guys are 1-4, I'm going, I'm getting a little bit nervous, right? Then you start to string off wins, and you're becoming who you were. Is that really a product of the change in the offseason, and then again, Coach Malone trying to find new rotations, find out who works with whom, and that sort of thing as we moved on here?
I think the combination of a lot of new faces and a shortened offseason. I think it's been challenging for our guys, mentally and physically, to kind of be where you generally want to be when the season tips off, with limited preseason, limited chance to really interact. We've had some injuries, we've had some health and COVID issues as well. So I think that a lot of the teams that were in the bubble for extended times have gone through similar bumps early on, and hopefully we kind of caught our footing, and we can continue to play the way we've been playing recently.
Tim Connelly with us.
You guys go 15 of 17 from three in the first half yesterday, which, by the way, according to some of these stat historians, is the greatest first half of three-point shooting in like over 30 years. I mean, you're talking NBA history. The three ball has taken over the league. Have you guys as a staff, as a franchise, as an organization, made a concerted effort to shoot more threes? Has that been the thing going into this season?
You're always looking for ways to improve, and Mo and his staff are as good as anybody at constantly raising the bar. I think it has been something we've talked about. How can we get more threes? How can we generate more paint threes, where you drive the ball and you find shooters? So the league, as you mentioned, has become so three-dependent. We're trying to be more creative in how we create those threes.
When I mention the word, here's the problem. Here's where the league is. When I say drop steps and mid-rangers, both these guys want to punch my face, Tim. Yeah. And maybe they want to do it anyway, you know what I mean? But Paul Millsap a couple of weeks ago put a drop step on a guy, at the low block, and I'm like, oh, man, that's my youth. That's so beautiful, right? You just don't see that kind of stuff really anymore, and the mid-range jumper is becoming,
obsolete.
Extinct. Yeah, exactly. So can the trend come back, or is this just the way the game has to be played now?
I think if you're great at the mid-range, it should be a huge part of your arsenal. Jamal's an excellent mid-range shooter, and if you make enough of them, it's like making a three. I think what most teams are trying to avoid are those inefficient mid-range shots. When you dribble a lot and you take a tough contested mid-range shot. But look at guys like Jamal. Look at Nicola's automatic from when he short rolls. Look at Kevin Durant's mid-range. I think if you're excellent at any shot, take it and take it a lot. And in the post, those post mismatches, you score a couple times in the post, oftentimes teams react, and that leads to more threes, more open threes.
Tim, can you explain something to me where the process of this offseason, and I don't want to go back too far, but you're probably thinking you're getting Jeremy Grant back, and then he goes to Detroit, so you get JaMychal Green. And what's your evaluation of JaMychal Green stepping into that role that it looked like Grant was going to play heading into this year?
He's been fantastic. We were pretty optimistic we're going to get Jeremy back in Denver. Unfortunately, he chose to go to Detroit. He's playing great. We have a tough challenge this evening between him and Mason. It'll be neat to see those guys. It's fun to have him back in our building. But JaMychal, I can't say enough about JaMychal. I think I'll be wrong. I think we only have 1 or 2 losses since Michael's come back. I should probably know that, but I know he's played great. He's got toughness. He can guard multiple positions. He's a heck of a rebounder, and he's shooting the leather off the ball. So relative to what we expected, he's been fantastic, and I think he's fit in seamlessly.
Tim, have you come to terms now? Are you cool with what transpired in Jeremy heading to Detroit? Because we all know what he wanted. He wanted to be the guy. He's getting over 17 shots a game. I'm not sure he would have gotten 17 shots a game here in Denver. But are you cool with it at this point? And what will that meeting be when you visit with Jeremy tonight?
I still talk to Jeremy quite a bit. I mean, it's a guy told me when I first got into it. It's a great line. It's personnel, not personal. Jeremy earned the right to be an unrestricted free agent. He had a great relationship with Troy. He's doing a really nice job in Detroit. He wanted something different, and you applaud guys that have earned that ability to make that decision. Certainly, we miss him, and he had a great impact when he was here. His 1 year here was fantastic. He was a key part of why we reached Western Conference Finals. So, it's something that from a team perspective, you have to also get in the player's shoes, and he wanted a bigger role and a new challenge, and he found that. He's doing a great job with it in Detroit.
Speaking of Western Conference Finals, I know you guys, after you go there, that's where you want to be again. And now I look at the West, and things are starting to stack up, I guess, the way we anticipated, and you're in the top 4 now. But how much do you have to monitor what other teams are doing, or do you at all as we go along here, and then look at your club and say, okay, we want to get back to where we were. You look at your personnel and some of the guys you've added. As we move along here in a shortened season, does everything get magnified? How does that work for you and for Calvin and everybody else?
It's hard this year, Mo, because with so many games and so many games impacted by health and safety, it's been challenging to get a real feel for the league. I think it's probably impacted deal making. A lot of teams are playing better than they would have guessed. Some teams are struggling that I would expect to be fine as the season progresses and we move towards the end of the season. So we're always looking. We're always trying to be critical and brutally honest with ourselves what we don't have. But it's been nice the last 4 or 5 games to see what a healthy roster looks like. And then PJ Dozier goes down the hamstring. Gary gets banged up last night. So you want to be aggressive and you want to ensure that you're not looking at your team with rose-colored glasses, but this season in particular has been challenging because of all those unique circumstances.
So the challenges that presented, and then you're on your phone scrolling through and you're like, oh my God, Harden went where? Like, what is that process like for you as somebody who makes deals, but you see stuff like that? What's your reaction to Brooklyn's now a big 3 out of nowhere?
Yeah, we were pretty aware where he would likely end up. The second part of the trade was surprising, to be honest. There wasn't a lot of rumors or talk about that. I think he was the guy that wasn't happy with where he was. He had done a lot for the organization, and he was very specific where he wanted to play. I think that helped lead the market. I think he was pretty vocal about certain places where he wanted to go, and ownership there respected that and tried to build deals around those places. They're a fun team to watch offensively when they get it going. Wow. But it's the NBA is crazy. It's amazing he's not a Houston Rocket. We're very happy he's out of the Western Conference. And it'll be fun to see how those guys gel in Brooklyn.
How does somebody in your position, and you're so fortunate to have guys who seem to really love it here, the superstars on your team, but what exactly does somebody in your position do if Harden's upset? Like, do you have any recourse?
I mean, it's really tough. We actively seek out guys who want to be here and will be happy to be here. And, if a guy is vocal, he doesn't want to be here, and we've had it in the past, not players of James's ilk, but it's really challenging where you're, ultimately I tell the guys all the time, we're going to try to do what's best for you, but ultimately our only responsibility is to do what's best for the team. So how do you balance those two things? And then there's the human element. It's not unique to sports. Sometimes people are just unhappy in their roles. It can be in any industry. As long as there's communication, as long as the guy is respectful and still shows up and is a pro every day, I think you can work with him. But it gets really, really tough when you get past that point and you're dealing with guys who are essentially pouting and trying to get out of the situation. So it's a hard one, and there's no easy answers.
Tim Connelly on with us. Tim, you mentioned Gary Harris's injury last night. He strained his adductor. I'm not sure what an adductor is. Not sure if I have one. I guarantee Moser doesn't.
You sent out a picture of the diagram of a human leg.
I think it was taken out of me a couple years ago.
Here. We have video I can show you.
Can you?
I would show you my adductor, yeah.
Okay.
It's gotta be down here somewhere.
All right, well, whatever. Whatever. I'm more concerned about Gary Harris's.
All right, I'm out.
What have you heard? What can you tell? I mean, is this because he's had issues with that part of his body before? Are you worried?
No, I'm not. I have no idea. We'll see how he feels this morning.
Okay.
I was with Gary in the locker room. As I've said, Gary, the worst part about you getting hurt is you got to hear me do play-by-play now. When anybody gets hurt, I go back there, and I'm sure they don't want to hear my take on the game. But we're cautiously optimistic. It's just it's not going to be a huge deal. We'll find out today. Gary's worked so hard to put his body in great shape. I think he's been really, really good this year. His shots start falling the last couple of weeks. His defensive impact has been tremendous. So fingers crossed, it's not something going to keep him out too long, but we'll find out today.
Last thing for you, Tim, and appreciate your time this morning. Have you considered lending Jokic to the Rockies and maybe mixing in some third base or something like that? They're in the market for one.
That's cool.
How great a third baseman would he be?
Oh, my gosh.
Amazing.
He can do anything.
A 6'10" Brooks Robinson. That'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
You know what? You just said something, Tim, that he doesn't get. Everybody, hits on Joker for his defense. Oh, this guy can't play defense. His hands in the passing lanes. Is there? Do you have faster hands on your team right now than Joker's?
Yeah, I think we have. They have all hands teams in football, and they have Golden Glove in baseball. Gary, Paul, and Nicola's hands are ridiculous. I mean, Paul's hands are just vice grips. Gary's got fantastic hands. Joker's hands are I think he had 7 steals on one of our road trip games. But, yeah, I think we're continuing to try to challenge ourselves to get better defensively, but I think it's kind of a lazy narrative that he stinks defensively just because he's not above the rim guy. His hands, his instincts, his energy, and then his defensive rebounding. A defensive possession doesn't end until you clear that side of the ball, and he's one of the best defensive rebounders in our league. So he's so much fun to watch. It's amazing how much he's accomplished relative to his age. It's amazing that he continues to surprise you like he did last night. And I think he's the best player in the world right now.
I just worry about blood loss from the back of his arms. I've never seen upper arms as scarred, cut, scratched, pink.
Just got to go see Vic's matchup at Denver Athletic Club.
Most thought the adductor was in the upper arm, by the way. So,
all right.
It's Tim Connelly, again, president of basketball ops for your Denver Nuggets. Tim, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much, buddy.
Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There you go.
Thank you, Tim Connelly, always a supporter and listener of this fine program. So we really appreciate it as he helps us make the transfer over to television as well.
Are you worried about Gary again? I mean,
I always worry.
You don't
I'm
want
a
it to
worrier.
linger, right? You don't want it to linger.
Yeah, I'm a worrier. He's been playing some great basketball of late. They need Gary Harris. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
you can say what you want. They need his defense.
He was playing great, too. Great before he went out. But got to take a break here. 30933 is the Shop Automotive text line. We're back in 3 minutes.
And Tom FaceTimes me. I'm like, I wasn't expecting a FaceTime. Kind of caught me off guard. But we talked we talked about like the normal conversation. Oh, hey, how you doing? Where are you going to live at? And then immediately got into business. He goes, all right, so I got to ask you about your sweat situation. And I knew it was coming because everybody's like, oh yeah, Tom's going to make you shove a towel down your ass, and I'm like, all right. So immediately, jumped right into it. The towel, fold it down the crack, half a bottle of baby powder, and keep this baby dry. I'm going to take you to the Super Bowl. I'm like, all right.
I love offensive linemen. We've had Risner on today, had Ryan Jensen on today. Obviously, that was his quote, the center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Colorado's own. And these guys, they're just real human beings.
Fat and sassy.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what's funny about him? I've been talking to him all year. He wouldn't do any media. He's sort of doing that whole Bronco lineman thing. But Super Bowl week, they're all forced to do media because it's media week. You could see how bubbly these guys really are. They don't show it, but linemen have the best quotes. They just do.
Dude, both him and Dalton, they were great today. And the fact that story is just volunteered, you know what I mean? Like, if you guys missed it, that was just about the first meeting he had with Tom Brady. He FaceTimes him, and within, a few minutes of, hey, where are you going to live at in Tampa, it turned into, all right, here's how we stop the ass sweat. These are my rules. So you take the towel, you fold, and there was this whole process. Fold it down the crack. And I'm just like, that's the initial conversation you had?
Can you imagine? That was like, if you recall, Mark Moser, when we were told that Brett Kane is coming down from Nebraska, key addition to our sports show, and we first met you.
Look at his face now, Vic.
It was a similar request.
That's what he brought.
It was like, look, you can't be on the show with your face. So do something with that face, and then we'll proceed.
Now look at it. Look at me. Marty looks like Agent.
He looks like he's in the Matrix, for God's sake.
From the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. That guy. What is his name? Somebody help me out. Agent Smith? Is that
Marty?
It's not Marty. That is
Agent
not the
Marty.
name.
Yeah, no, it's Agent Leskowitz. Yeah, it's a real unique character.
Although I'll tell you this: if Marty was one of those agents, he certainly could have chased down Neo going up those stairs.
He's the fastest kid alive.
That is, though. So Ryan Jensen, Dalton Risner both joined the program today, and it is like it's Super Bowl week, and it doesn't really feel that way because the pomp and circumstance of the Super Bowl is not there
Well, you heard
anymore.
what Jensen said. He said the Kansas City Chiefs are treating it like a normal road game. They are arriving in Tampa the day before, going to spend the night at the hotel.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Well, you're right. No, don't get me wrong. You're totally right about that, Vic. But I mean, it's far from normal. All the stuff. In fact, you know what? I kind of like it. Not seeing 175 people around Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And people dressed up like what's Media Day? Wednesday, right? And you see,
no, today's Media Day.
Oh, you're right. Today's Media Day. You're right about that. It's changed over the years, moved up, and people wearing like Christmas trees as outfits, and it's about them, right? It's
stupid stuff.
You know what?
Because it's about them, and it's ridiculous.
And I know you're having fun with this. You're being what they call sarcastic right now.
What do you mean?
This
is how I dress.
I've covered many Super Bowls. Media Day, and I think I speak for a lot of people that cover the NFL. Leave it to me now to get somewhat serious about this.
Okay,
all right, because I'm
right ahead.
I'm a joke.
Okay, tough guy.
Media Day had gotten out of control. This is a good reset. If there's anything good, reset. No more of this circus-like atmosphere. Can we just? Seriously, it got completely out of control the last 2 years and stupid.
I'll tell you one thing I don't like.
Guys who wear glasses indoors?
I don't like clowns. I'm tired of people being clowns in this world. Why don't they just act like a professional and an adult? And the second that, I'll tell you what, Vic, I'll take it a step further. I think people who treat this without the serious nature that it deserve to be banned from sports. I think they should be kicked out.
Mo, let's you and I talk. How's McKinnon after last night? He did not play in the third period.
It's like he cleaned out his entire prop box.
Is McKinnon going to be all right?
Vic, here, let me put it this way. Since I couldn't locate anything egregious that happened to him, And again, I have no idea about human
You're not
bodies.
there. This
I'm
is
not a
what
doctor.
sucks about
Correct.
this.
I'm
You're
not
here.
there. I can't give you any sort of inside dope because I'm not at the rink. But if the coach got word right before the start of the third that, hey, McKinnon can't go for this third period, and by the way, that's a shock to the system for everybody. But if he got word and I can't find anything egregious on film that I look back on and look back on and look back on, then I'm hoping it's not that serious. That's I can't imagine he'd play tomorrow.
What is not that serious, though? Like, what could we be? Look. I know you're just going to be speculating. Okay, muscle pull? Because I look at a game that's close, goes into overtime, and he's still not on the bench. That's a concerning thing to me.
Oh, yeah. You're not kidding, dude. Again, let me say this about Nathan McKinnon and guys like Matt Calvert and P.E. Belmar and Eric Johnson, all these guys. These are tough dudes. I mean, these are dudes. Eric Johnson had his leg shattered by a Tyler Seguin slap shot 3 years ago, and he still was skating around, skated. I mean, his leg was shattered. If you look at it, Kane, it looked like he got hit with a 30-06. And he skated off, he skated around and skated off and then missed the whole rest of the year and had surgery and so on. These are tough guys. If McKinnon's not on the ice for the third in overtime, it means something's wrong. I mean, let's not act like, oh, it's a hangnail. It's not. It's something's wrong, but I just hope to God, because he keeps himself in such really good physical shape. Let's hope his body's a quick healer, whatever it may be. And we should get an update today from Bednar.
Think about this from last year. The amount of injuries the Avs had, and he was the one consistent thing that kept everything moving in a positive direction.
When Landeskog was out, Rantanen was out, and they were out at the same time for a little while.
Right.
He did everything. And then again, you start slotting guys up. Well, you don't want to take Nazem Kadri off the line with Saad and Burakovsky because they've exploded. I mean, look at the last 3 games; those guys are going, right? So who's going to be the centerman now between Landeskog and Rantanen? So do you bump Kadri up? They did it a little bit last night in the third, looking for a little pick me up. Will it be JT Compher going from the third line to the top line? How does it all work? Because what you don't want to do is mess up the chemistry of a line that's really now going, and you may really need those guys, but you're without your number 1 center and your number 4 center. So clearly things are going to get jumbled up.
Hey boys,
stinks. I hate it, Vic. I hate it.
Albert Breer writes his Monday morning quarterback column. He took over for Peter King. He has some insight that I'm reading right now at what other teams offered the Lions for Matt Stafford. And when you read this, it almost feels like the Rams offered too much, considering that there wasn't much to compete against. You tell me. And one of those teams was the Denver Broncos. Do you know what the Broncos, according to Albert Breer, offered Detroit for Matt Stafford?
The 9 and a 2?
They offered to switch picks with the Lions, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, wow.
Whoa.
So that's it. That's
it.
Well, they knew they were going to lose that battle then.
Well, apparently that wasn't a very ardent supply of trade arsenal.
Hold on a second. They offered to switch first, and that's it.
Yeah.
Not even say, here, take our 9. Just switch picks.
Just switch.
My God! So I'm confused by this because
So am I.
I saw a report from people saying that the Lions got different offers for multiple first-round picks too. Like they got multiple first-round offers.
Well, here's what some other teams offered. Indianapolis offered a package of picks and players. Talks really never escalated to include the 21st overall pick.
Now that surprises me. That really, for a team that went 10-6.
Yeah.
Or
Carolina,
11-5. I'm sorry, and with old man Rivers, that's surprising to me.
Right.
Carolina offered the 8th overall pick and a later pick, so there's legitimate. I mean, they offered more than the Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said take the 8th pick.
Now you're getting there.
Washington offered the 19th overall choice and a 3rd round pick. San Francisco, did I tell you that already? They said they were going to make offers during Super Bowl week. Well, too late.
Yeah.
Well, why would they wait? Why do they care if it's Super Bowl week or not? Here's the other part of this, too.
Well, Brett, real quick, Brett, think about this. The Rams feel like they're close to winning again. So they up the ante and they said, you know what? We're all in. I mean, give them credit for having the what do you say, Vic?
Colognes.
Give them credit for having the Colognes
down in my That Les Snead dude, he went full Leo
Snead's
DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street. He's like, you don't like your quarterback, you pick up the phone and you start dialing.
Well,
That's
you know
right.
what, too? These guys talk. Perhaps these other teams knew that the Rams and Lions were down the road on conversations already.
And the fact that they could give a young 26-year-old quarterback who's been to a Super Bowl back, I'm sure helped as well.
Sure. Got to take a break here. We'll talk to Ben Hochman. He's a reporter for the Cardinals. Get his perspective, his thoughts on this Nolan trade. And is there anything the Cardinals wished they'd done differently? I don't think so. We'll talk to Ben next. Again, as we got the start on Altitude TV today for the simulcast. By the way, I think everything is going smoothly, but if it isn't, just give us time. We're working through some kinks. It's the first day. But speaking of working through some kinks.
You came in with Ray-Bans and a suit and tie on.
I had to look professional.
Do you qualify that as working through some kinks?
Yes.
I mean,
I'm just feeling things out. I'm trying stuff. Kind of like the Rockies did with the Cardinals. They're just trying stuff and seeing if this works or not. Ben Hochman is now with us. First of all, thank you for the time this morning. Let me ask you this to start this off.
What's up, Benny?
Ben, is there anything the Cardinals would have wanted more from this trade?
They didn't get enough.
Right away, it's good to hear your voices and see all your faces. And I mean, if they're going to throw in $50 million, can they also throw in a few burgers from the Cherry? I mean,
when you first saw Benny, and Ben writes a column here for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and he was a wonderful writer. He covered the Nuggets beat for a long time in Denver. His dream was to go back home and write for his hometown paper. Dream realized. When you first saw that trade, right, and you saw it come down on Twitter, did you think what we all thought? Oh, okay, Arenado to the Cardinals. The Cardinals paid $50 million cash. I didn't know it was the other way around.
Right, precisely, Vic. I think that's what I thought. I couldn't believe it, and I was mentioning on Twitter to some people, hopefully Jeff Bridich, Monfort, and the Rockies will come out with some transparency and just explain where they were coming from to the Rockies fans. Because I think, because I mean, Kisler ripped them in the paper. I mean, everyone's ripping them. You guys are ripping the trade. Nothing about this trade looks good for Colorado. So hopefully, at least, the executives can explain to the fans what they're planning.
Okay, Ben, I make you Jeff Bridich. Sell me.
We're starting over, boys. It ain't working. It ain't working. But
yeah, but 50 mil. But Benny, 50 mil as well. I mean, golly, they're just like, and then the guys the Rockies got back, Benjamin, we don't even know these guys.
That's the funniest thing to me is I cover the Cardinals pretty closely, and even I don't know John Torres.
Don't laugh!
Oh no! Come on, man!
The beginning of your answer, you just laughed.
Oh my God.
You said that's the thing. I don't know who the hell these guys either, but good luck.
Embarrassing.
The hell do I do with that?
I couldn't believe it. I'm on. I have a set myself, just like you all. I do a daily video for the Post-Dispatch website. It's called 10 Hochman. Because my name is Ben Hochman. I go by Benjamin. That's my name, but none of that didn't rhyme with a number. So I went with Ben, so it rhymes with 10. And on 10 Hochman, I did a thing just a day before the trade was announced, or the agreeing to the trade, and that was which Nolan is going to be third base for the Cardinals next year. And because they're only going to have one or the other, Nolan Arenado or Nolan Gorman, because surely Cardinals' top hitting prospect Nolan Gorman would be in the trade for Nolan Arenado. Now it looks like the Cardinals have both Nolans. They're going to have to put their stud third base guy at second base just to fill him in a lineup somewhere.
You know, Ben, it dawned on me, I'm not even calling this a trade, because a trade is a disservice to the word trade. I'm calling this a dowry. This is a dowry. This is what the Rockies did. They had to pay the Cardinals for the Cardinals to take Nolan Arenado's hand in marriage, and they paid them $50 million. This is exactly what's transpired. So I want to ask you this, because clearly this was financially motivated. The Rockies, for whatever reason, it's not there financially. How are the Cardinals, the tradition-rich Cardinals, so much better equipped financially than the Rockies in this situation?
That's a good question, and the reality is, there are a lot of things in limbo financially with the St. Louis Cardinals right now. One of the parts to this deal is that Nolan Arenado will defer some of his money so he has a lower salary in the 2021 season. The Cardinals, look at it this way. Colton Wong, fan favorite, two-time Gold Glove winner, he was supposed to come back on a $12.5 million contract. They didn't bring him back. They said, we're going to go with Tommy Edman at second base, was a $0.5 million contract. It was a stunning move at the time a few months ago, and it showed that the Cardinals were kind of in a financial situation. But the reality is, now with this gift from Colorado, they're able to somehow afford one of the best players in baseball of this generation.
The question I have now, Ben, is that, okay, you want to rebuild, you want to restart in Colorado. Well, you still got guys like Trevor Story where you have the decision of extend him or trade him too. But if you do want to trade Trevor Story, why should I, if I'm inquiring about him, give you anything that you would want after watching this Arenado thing go down? What sort of leverage do you have now for even trading another generational type talent in Trevor Story if you want assets in return?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how other executives work with Bridich going forward. I feel like,
I'm not trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like maybe there's some part of this that hasn't been reported yet, or something that
Has
the
to be.
Rockies did. I don't know, like to make them look better in the trades, to help the franchise. I don't know, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They have a lot of issues going forward, and are they going to do a clean sweep and start over like it's 1993 again? Where's David Meade?
Right, exactly. And Ben, they've been pretty tight-lipped about the organization for over a year now when all this started, even going into last spring training before everything got shut down. You've got a unique perspective on this because you were in Denver. You've been to a billion Rockies games. You're back home now in St. Louis, so you can see both sides. And I've been talking about the Monforts and the lack of quick cash, right? I mean, the liquidity of the Monfort's ability. You know as well as I do that their bread is buttered by butts in the seats, and they print money all over the place, and they print money through the party deck. But Ben, when fans aren't coming through the turnstiles, that affects the Rockies as much as or more than any other team, or so it seems to me. Do you agree?
I agree, but once these vaccines get going, every 23-year-old guy and girl in Lodo is going to be at the biggest bar, best bar.
And Brett's mom.
In Lodo for 82 nights.
Yeah, Brett's mom loves it up there. I love it up there. I mean, we have a good time up there. You know what I mean? It's just that they print money, but if they're not printing money, they can't do anything, and they got to give $50 million to get rid of a guy, and the rest of his $150 million.
It's mind-blowing, right? I just feel for the fans of Colorado. I mean, I lived there for 8 years. I got to know many people. From afar, some people might say, oh, Denver baseball fans, they're not really into it. I can vouch for plenty of passionate, purple-bleeding Rockies fans who are right now watching this or listening to this saying, what is happening with my organization? What is happening with my team? A couple of years ago, we were the wild card, and then the wild card again. There was a lot of momentum, and now we're just handing Nolan Arenado away. I need transparency as a fan. I need information. I need the team to kind of just talk to me like a dude. I mean, that's the thing. Half of life is just about how you communicate things, right? And the Colorado Rockies have been abysmal at communication with their fans.
They've been abysmal at the communication with their players, too. I mean, see Nolan Arenado, how you got to this point. You got to this point, like, this started, 7-8 months after he signed the extension is when they started having issues? That's pretty quick turnaround.
You know, I hate to say something to Ben here because I know Cardinals fans are excited, but I really believe deep down, Ben, there's thoughts that Nolan is not going to give up that opt-out, right? He still wants the ability to opt out of this contract, and that tells me he wants to play in L.A. again. He desperately wants to play for his hometown Dodgers, and that's the one thing the Rockies were trying to avoid. They did not want him to go to L.A., so they sent him to St. Louis instead, and if he ends up in L.A., that's your problem now.
Right. I look at it this way. I mean, the Cardinals literally had the fewest home runs in baseball last year. They literally had the third lowest slugging percentage in baseball, but their pitching and defense was so good that they made the playoffs. And they made the playoffs the year before with crappy offense as well. If they had Nolan Arenado, the optimist thinks that the St. Louis Cardinals are a pennant contender. So what we'll have here is Nolan Arenado playing for St. Louis, contending for the pennant, having a great season, and then having to decide if he wants to leave all that for L.A., but knowing he's going to make a substantial less amount of money.
All right, before we let you go, a couple things I got to address. Number one, you don't know it because you've been back in St. Louis, but on this show, a wiffle ball bat holds a very near and dear special thing to us as a show. We have 4 different ones. We're on Wonder Boy 4 now. The other 3 got lost. I think Hastings stole one. But I challenged Brett that I could kill him with a wiffle ball bat in 2 minutes, and he didn't believe me. And then we started hitting each other with a wiffle ball bat, and he came to his senses pretty quick. Yeah. You've got for those who are watching on television or watching on the Twitch, you've got my favorite thing. You walk into Walgreens, and you got a whole thing full of wiffle ball bats.
Yeah, that's an army. We call that an army around here.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got to be ready just in case anybody wants to play. I suppose 8 different wiffle ball games at once.
Okay, let's go to Ben's house and then whip out all the. It's awesome stuff. And number 2, I got to tell the story real quick. Benjamin and I have a history with our good pal Jake Schroeder. Ben and I used to drive the same car, a Toyota type car. And Jake tried to play a prank on me one time. No, it's not that long, but he played a prank on Ben and not knowing it at Pepsi Center, the former Pepsi Center Ball Arena after an Avalanche game. Do you remember what happened, Ben? Do you remember the whole thing that was on your car and everything?
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. So yeah, Moser and I would go to the same Avalanche games, the same Nuggets games. So both of our cars were in the special media lot. So Jake knew where Mark's car would be. So he went to it during a game and put a bumper sticker on what he thought was Mark's car that said, "Cowboy butts drive me nuts."
And Jake goes to me, he goes, "How'd you like the bumper sticker?" So what are you talking about?
Wait, what did it say?
It said, "Cowboy butts drive me nuts."
Wait, so how long, Ben, did you not know who put that on your car then? Like, you were just sitting there like, what kind of jerk would do this?
After the game, I remember this. I drove over to Punch Bowl Social. You know that place?
Oh, yeah.
Broadway?
On Broadway,
Sure.
yeah.
I pulled in, parked, and saw some people. I had a pretty recognizable face because I looked like either Frodo or the late Robin Williams. So people know me as a sports writer just because of my looks, not because of my writing. So people go, "Hey, there's Hochman!" Hey, I'm like, "Hey guys!" He's coming out of my car. So everyone's seeing which one's my car. And then a couple hours. So
it's awesome. Hey, Schroeder said to me, Brett, he goes, "The bumper sticker." This is like 2 days later. The bumper sticker. I said, "Dude, I didn't get a bumper sticker." He's
Funny
like,
thing
"Oh
is-
no!" I go, "I know it's on Ben's car. I know it is."
Funny thing is, Hochman never took the sticker off.
That's right, still there. Hey, it's Ben Hochman. He's with the. Oh, there you go.
There it is.
Oh my
Lombardi.
goodness, God, that is near and dear to my heart, Benny.
Oh man,
near and dear, baby.
Yeah. Autograph.
Ben, good to talk to you, buddy. Thanks for the time.
Love you, man.
See you all.
See you, BH.
There you go. Benjamin Hochman, St. Louis Dispatch. Moser, you know what? That story was worth it. That was worth it.
It was
that
quick.
was a worth it story. Very good.
The greatest part of that interview is a St. Louis Cardinals beat writer / columnist who covers a team has no idea of the pieces coming to Colorado.
Oh my God.
Come on.
I don't even know who that dude is. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, got to take a break. We're back in 3 minutes.
That's the funniest thing to me is I cover the Cardinals pretty closely, and even I don't know John Torres.
Don't laugh.
Oh, no. Come on, man.
The beginning of your answer, you just laughed. That's what somebody does when they take your lunch money. Like, the Cardinals took your lunch money and then laughed at you while you were doing it. And then they told their friends about it, and they said, I didn't even do anything. I gave him 2 for flinching, and then he said, take my wallet right now. I'm scared.
Again, the saving grace from Benjamin Hochman, and I hope this happens this week. I hope when it's all official, it's supposed to be official sometime today. I really do hope that the Rockies explain what is happening here, because I think they owe the fan base that much. You can't just make a deal like that and then run and hide. You have to explain it.
Vic, the reaction, not only when the trade went down, but over the weekend was visceral. I mean, it was...
I've never seen anything like it.
It was hard. It was hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
I've never seen anything like it.
And I don't. I mean, they had to know that when they do a deal like this. Listen, just trading Arenado, even if you got a haul back, it was going to be a PR nightmare because so many people love that guy. And by the way, I went back and looked at the Father's Day game. And he's bleeding.
Goosebumps.
And, man, it was so awesome. And fans, that's going to be a memory seared. Remember, the Rockies took the uniform, the bloody uniform, and all that stuff. So even if they got a haul, they'd be upset. but when the deal goes down like this, people are apoplectic.
Moj.
They are apocalyptic, so to speak.
Moj, you just said it. I have no problem trading Nolan Arenado because we all knew it was inevitable, right? We knew this was coming. Trading a Hall of Fame player, we knew it was going to happen. But when you make the deal, you expect a return. You expect something to hold on to. Hope, right? We gave him up. He's gone. We loved him dearly. We held him close to our hearts. He's gone. What do you got for me? Nothing.
Well, and this is what, again, guys, this is the difference to me. Like, you look at between this Arenado trade, and I get it, different sports, but it's a similar situation with Stafford in the NFL. Everybody knew that he was leaving. All that leverage is gone. Now it's a matter of, I think he's a good player. What's the price tag? People in Detroit aren't unhappy with this trade. They like it. They got something in return, even though they loved the guy that they just traded. And it's because of organizational failure. Your organization failed this player to the point he wanted to leave. Arenado, similar story, except you went to make the trade, and a beat writer for the Cardinals can't tell you the players you got in return. Never heard of them.
Yeah, Brett, is it possible, though? Is it possible that you, Vic, maybe everybody else misread the overall financial situation in baseball? I just saw where the owners had presented to the union, hey, let's push back the start of the season, and the players don't want to do it. They're like, we think we want to play a whole deal. Is it possible that I'm misreading the tea leaves in terms of the big market clubs and all their cash with the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, and all this kind of thing? Did we just completely misread how much money is available and what teams are willing to do?
Moj, it's conflicting because the Padres are spending money like
but they've got a new guy. Vic, they've got a new guy who's spending money like crazy.
Understood. But even Ben mentioned that even the Cardinals are in dire straits at some point. Even they're penny pinching at times. So I can't tell you. I don't understand how it works. I can tell you that Nolan Arenado, his current deal, is probably going to profit more than if he ripped it up and tried to sign another deal. He's not going to make the money that's already been awarded to him. Do we agree there?
Not the way the financials are right now in baseball, or so it seems.
I think I'd agree. I mean, at the same time, this is where, again, that owner in San Diego throws everything out of whack because he's giving out $300 million contracts like it's whatever, dude. Hey, you guys losing money? How's it feel to be poor? Tatis, you want $300 million?
Yeah, but dude, he feels like he's worth it. I mean, Fernando Tatis is rad.
Well, Nolan's that level good.
No, I understand.
Nolan's not worth it.
But here's the deal. This is the separation, Moj. This wasn't a financial deal. You want to know how I know that? If the Rockies were good, are they trading Nolan for that? If they're in contention this year, is Nolan being traded at all?
No.
I think the Rockies...
It doesn't have to do with money. That's now a byproduct of getting rid of him. Mm-hmm. But that's not the main reason.
they have to figure out, they have to understand who they are as a franchise. If you're a franchise that can play ball with the big guns and you can sign Hall of Fame players to these ridiculous contracts, right? Because we all know these guys get paid. The amount of money they get paid is preposterous. But if you want to play ball in that swimming pool, by God, you better commit. You can't be halfway in. You can't have one leg in that pool and the other leg in the kiddie pool. You can't do that. And I believe that's what the Rockies have been doing the last few years. Like when they signed Nolan, they said, okay, here we are. But part of them were like, oh my God, what did we just do?
Yeah, and the LeMahieu deal, and then they go and get Murphy for the same, and he just retired over the weekend. I mean,
you either go full D-Rays or you don't. You go full Tampa Bay and just, as soon as we develop these dudes and they became megastars, get them out.
The old Expos. The old Expos did that exact same thing.
Oakland A's, get them out.
Vic, why do you think Nolan was so mad so fast about it? He signed the deal. In his head, he's probably thinking, I left a little bit of money on the table to see if we can get some more help around here. They didn't make a move. And then you found yourself in the situation you've been over the last couple of years. But you're so right about that. Either when you have that window, take full advantage of the window.
They had the window.
Yes.
2017 and 18, a young rotation, young promising team, consecutive playoff appearances, and then they did nothing. And that nothingness is what started this mess. This all started that offseason when they did nothing. You all understand that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Before we're out of here today on our first day on TV, Kaner, number one, I will give people an update here on Altitude 92.5. We will, and in Altitude Television, when we find out about McKinnon. We won't know until the coach talks and we find out. So that right now is put on hold. Vic, the Nuggets are back at it tonight. What do I need to know in 30 seconds or less about the Pistons and our old buddies coming to town?
And I know you guys are going to roll your eyes when I say this because the Pistons are one of the worst teams in the NBA, but be careful. Be very careful about teams like this. You're coming off your signature victory of the season last night. The Nuggets snapped Utah's 11-game win streak. All right, Utah could not lose. They came to Denver, and they got blistered. All right, goodbye, Utah. Great win. Watch out. Detroit, although they've only won 5 games, look at the 5 teams they've beaten. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay.
They've beaten the Lakers. They've beaten the Celtics. They've beaten some good teams. So it's the NBA, man. You never know. Do not let the foot off the pedal just because you beat Utah yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Okay. Initial show a success. I think it was a success on television.
Look
Get
these
your
legs.
leg down.
Come on, man.
Looks like you
can wear
shave
glasses.
your legs. What are you, a swimmer?
No,
hey, you're wearing a fishing shirt.
I'm kind of a dolphin. I don't know what to tell
you. Yeah, a little bit. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, watch the show live on Twitch, twitch.tv. Search Altitude SR in the search bar. Altitude TV, Altitude Radio, all of the platforms. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Fact Checker?
Harris Hastings and Dover.
Fact Checker!